You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You tune in Apartment 5B, hosted by your man, Kill. Got my squad with me as always. Ladies first, Porsche, what's going on, miss?
How's it going, Kill?
Everything is great.
It's so good to be back. I missed you guys. I missed Apartment 5B. You can see I have my New Year's table still up. Sorry for the absence, but I'm back and I'm glad.
Nah. Can you explain Persian New Year to us? Because I had no idea what it was before I met you.
Yeah, I mean, Persian New Year is basically a celebration for the spring solstice. So we celebrate, it changes obviously, and it's at random times. So we're very official. This year it was on the 20th at 2:37 in the morning. So most people like slept through the countdown part. But we put together these tables that is to basically bring in health, wealth, fertility, all of these things that are supposed to be prosperity. You trying to get pregnant over here, Porsche? No, I'm not, okay, but it's still traditional, so.
Okay, all right.
No, I think I am way past due, so never get be pregnant. But it's just part of the whole thing. So it's like, just all good things for the year, and we bring it in with the first day of spring, so. Yeah.
All right, that's dope. So you guys don't do the regular New Year's?
We do, but not like everybody else does.
Okay.
We're just, because we're forced to, because everybody else does, but This is when it's like hustle and bustle around every Persian household ever. So pre-COVID, it's a lot of family coming over, a lot of visiting, a lot of dinners, but obviously with COVID, it's been just our bubbles. I call them the COVID bubbles. So it was good.
All right. No doubt. We missed you. I don't know who to go to first when you ain't here. So, Grae, what's going on? Philly, what's good?
What's good, man? Happy to be here as always. Maintaining.
No doubt. JR, the R&B guru, rep, everything. What's going on?
What's up? Good to be here.
Yeah, the GM of So What's the Scenario? So, winning GM of What's the Scenario? Eddie with Freestyle. What's going on, good brother?
Yo, man, I'm good, man. Glad to be, back with y'all, man. Always enjoyable to chop it up with y'all.
All right, no doubt. My good brother Nick, what's going on? Back on,
man. Welcome me back like Cotter. Yo, thanks a lot, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to what's going on tonight. Yes.
No doubt. Before we get started, we all know Apartment 5B is sponsored by So What's the Scenario game. Get it at sowhatgames.com. Promo code Apartment 5B, you'll get free shipping. Check out the episode where JR somehow, some way beat all of us like twice. Right. So again, but definitely a fun game. Like I would have had people until 4 a.m. if people didn't have to go to work because I'm a sore fucking loser and I kept fucking losing. So we could have been here till 4 a.m. playing this game. So, we're probably going to do one every month just because it was a ball. Porsche, I swear to you. Word is born to Jesus. Okay, I am putting this in the mail for you tomorrow.
Okay,
that is my word. It is going in the mail tomorrow. So we're gonna get this out to you. You already know what it is with me. Let's jump right into it. So look, this week's podcast is about if you could give an artist, a rapper, R&B, whatever, a clean slate to start over. Like basically, maybe somebody got shot. Maybe somebody went to jail for 5 years. You like a Slick Rick. Like maybe if Slick Rick didn't go to jail, right at the height of his career, most folk already call him the dopest storyteller ever, but maybe Rick may have been one of the top 5 GOAT MCs if that didn't happen. So if you had the power for 3 MCs or 3 singers, 3 entertainers to give them a clean slate, whatever that means for you, whatever, that may mean an accident doesn't happen, a shooting doesn't happen, drugs don't happen, hey, if y'all want to play Pet Sematary and Raise the Dead, this person doesn't die. Whatever rapper you could give a clean slate to just be dope, because they could have been doper than what they are, in your opinion. So that's what we're chopping it up about tonight. Definitely interested to see where everybody goes with this, because it's there's a million places you could go with this, and a million artists. So I'm really amped to hear what everybody has. Porsche, as always, ladies first, why don't you set us off?
I'm going to start with Ras Kass. I love Ras Kass is one of my favorites. I know I feel like I'm in the very, very small minority that loves Ras Kass as much as I do. And that's basically because everyone, I think, feels like he's just bad at picking beats, and he suffers from poor production. So I wish that I could give Ras Kass a clean slate, pair him up with some dope West Coast producer. I would love to hear Ras Kass maybe paired with, I don't know, I would say like DJ Quick. Like I would like that. And
now tell me this: is there a specific year? Are you saying if Ras Kass had doper beats in 95 or
Soul on Ice, just out the gate? Like I think even Soul on Ice.
Now my brain again. Soul on Ice is 94, 5.
I believe it's
96.
96.
Okay, so 96.
Yes, that's
so out the gate.
Yeah.
So in 1996, you could put him with Quick.
I think so. I mean, I would be comfortable with that. Or more Battle Cat production, I think. Battle Cat would probably be very dope. Quick and Battle Cat are phenomenal to me. And I think Ras Kass had a very promising, lyrically, he's top tier. So I don't think he suffers from the pen game being bad or anything like that. I think it's just maybe pairing him with a very good or better producer so that out the gate people received his debut a little bit better, and then that would have maybe set off his trajectory a little bit higher than it was. I still think Ras Kass is severely underrated. I think his pen game is top tier. So I love Soul on Ice. Like I said, to me, that's like a 4.5 mic album. I don't give a crap about the whatever everybody says about the production. I think it's fantastic. So that's what I would do.
Ras Kass right now with that clean slate, no one's ever heard of him. He comes out right now. Top 5 MC in the game right now?
Right now, 2021?
2021.
Who debuts this year?
Like he debuts, like it's like, yo, the buzz on the street, yo, it's this cat from LA, Ras Kass, everybody's co-signing him.
Top 5.
Top 5. I can see that. I definitely can see that.
I think so.
Definitely can see that. Rel, who you got, good brother?
Hold on, can I speak on Ras for a minute? For a quick second? That's another one. I agree with you, Porsche. That's another one of my favorites. And I really love Soul on Ice, regardless of the beats. There's some like amazing lyricism on that album. And I think with Ras, because I liked Ras Assassination, which was his second album, but there were a couple of, it seemed like he got the message like, I need better beats, and then I think he sought those out on that album, but some of them didn't kind of just, I don't know, they didn't connect like I thought they would, you know what I'm saying? So I agree, he needed someone to direct his career a little bit as far as his...
He needed a very dope A&R.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, to kind of, what is Ras Kass? Like, what type of, like, his image and what direction you would go for his album without making it seem forced. You know what I'm saying? And Battle Cat was a person that came to my mind as well. But I just feel like that was a good one. I didn't even think about that, but that was a good one because that album, Soul on Ice, is like a masterpiece of lyricism.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's some missteps on the beats and production, but the lyricism's so good that I give it like a 4.5 as well. You know what I'm saying? And I really think a good A&R that could have directed his career in a certain way would have done him good, done him some real good. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with that.
Let me ask a question then, because it seems like, and I can't say all, but a lot of these incredible lyricists, you know what I'm saying, can't pick beats. You know, and I'm not even talking about the Nas and the M's and the J's. I'm talking about even like the Elzais. Like, to me, Elzai has the bar game to make a 5 mic album every time out the gate. Like, lyrically, he has what it takes, but he doesn't every time out. Like, why do you think these lyricists, like Ras Kass's pen is just stupid? Like, I'm sure, even like you said, it's hard for me to, being a producer, to hear it without the beats. Like, only certain MCs can really grab me, even if the beat doesn't grab me. But I'll never front on Ras Kass's pen game, but he's not a great song. It's almost like the dude who's great at the rucker. Like, you got the handle, you got all the moves, you're flashy, but you're not gonna play in the league. Like, come on, bro. Like, so he's hot sauce. You know, he's the professor. He's all those and one ballers that when that style was in, we all knew the professor's name, hot sauce name, was just as big as anybody in the NBA. But then when that shit got played out, it's like now you see YouTube videos. Where's the professor? What's hot sauce? Right. You know. So what do you think it is? Like, do you think, like, I used to think that it's a cockiness of I'm so great, I don't need great beats.
Yes.
Versus a Rick Ross or a Game, who I don't think are incredible MCs, but they're great beat pickers. And I'm always like, okay, like, you know me, I'm always trying to connect the dots. Like, okay, so you know you're a 2 to 3 mic MC. So you know to really get heard, you're going to need 5 mic beats. And then y'all connect. Because everybody's like, why won't Rick Ross A&R Nas's album? Or why won't Rick Ross get beats for this person? Yeah. So you got the Game and Ross, who are amazing beat pickers, but they're really not amazing MCs. But then you have these amazing MCs who are like subpar beat pickers. What are you going to say? Ed?
What I was going to say is it's these, like you said, you know, mediocre MCs, not all of them, but, you know, you made the example like a Rick Ross, who's not necessarily a 5 mic MC.
And let me say this, I don't want to be disrespectful. I love Rick Ross. I don't mean mediocre like he's run of the mill, because Ross is not.
But he's not a top tier. He's not a top tier lyricist.
To me, when I think of lyrics, I'm never going to be like, yo, Ross is going to bar me on this album. That's not what I go into a Rick Ross album for. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm dissing Rick Ross or the Game. I enjoy their music. To me, they make much better songs than an Elzai or a Ras Kass.
You hit on it. That's exactly what I was going to say, is that there's MCs that go into it trying to make a good song. So, you know, the concept beyond just the lyrics, the concept of how you're going to build out the song, you know, what are the elements you want, you know, they're more conceptual and, you know,
oh, you're breaking up, man.
Yeah, he froze.
What were you going to say, Rob?
I was going to say, a part of it with Raz, he had some misfortune too, because
because he was on the run. He was on the run for a while. On the run,
and he had the "We Gonna Make It" beat first from The Alchemist with Jada and Styles, right? And
I'm glad you brought that up.
If you hear his version, it's called "Home Sweet Home." It's a good song with a good beat, but it didn't hit like Jada and Kiss made it into a song, and he had to beef with Alchemist over that beat. And I just think he had a lot of he just had some misfortunes, man. I think he got the picture. Like, he wasn't as stubborn as some of the other ones. He got like, yo, I need some better production, and he tried. And I just think he needed someone to A&R it and to, like, yo, this has to be a song. Like, let's try to structure this like a song. You know what I'm saying?
That was always his issue, right? He had that like kind of run-on rhyme style that, you know, when you take a song like "Home Sweet Home," just something a little bit off about how he wrote it versus like Jada and Styles, but also they had the radio on. Like, you probably can't see like.
I see the Ras. I see the joint.
Right. That's Van Gogh.
That was the album. He had Premier. He had Alchemist. He had he had a bunch of other like better producers, and that was his. I think that was his moment. And by the clearances and the label not putting it out, I think I could see another like reason why he needed a redo, because that should have hit.
Yeah, he had the Golden Child remix on there.
And it's funny you bring up the "We Gonna Make It" joint, because you said it. Styles and Kiss made that a song. Ras Kass just spit over a beat. And that was the difference of it. You know what I mean? Like, to this day, when we gonna make it come in, it's fuck that. Like, the whole crowd is in, like, it's the whole, you know, dead rappers get better promotion, you know, like, it's quotables in there, you know, that's gonna turn out any party. You put that beat on and you put Ras Kass joint on, the whole crowd gonna probably stop, like, whoa, what's this? Like, this ain't what we want to hear. So that's it too, you know, can you make a great song? And I just wonder how, and we're gonna do a whole series with Trey and Ev and a whole bunch of other MCs about the art of MCing, because I'm like, again, me not being an MC, I don't know this, but is it that hard to make a good song? You know, looking from the outside in, as not being an MC, I'm just like, yo, you know, is it, because again, that's my beef with Thought. I don't think Thought makes very good songs. I don't think, like Questa said, yo, we don't have great hooks. We're not the best song makers, you know, but right. And like Nick was just saying with Ras, with that run on style, like when I first heard Stream of Thought 1, I was like, yo, this nigga literally went from Hot 97 straight to the studio and just did another 858 bars and just didn't even stop. And that's incredible. That's incredible for that style, but it doesn't make good songs. And it was funny because Quest was talking about it on the Talib podcast, and he was saying how Roots fans will be like, yo, we love your song with Erykah Badu. Like, Roots fans don't even know the names of their songs. They'll be like, they won't say You Got Me, they'll be like the song with Erykah Badu. Or that song, it goes that You Got the Hot Shit. They don't know it as the next movement, you know? And these are the fans, because they really don't make great songs. You know what I mean? But neither here, don't want to belabor this, but definitely, Eddie, you got frozen for a second. Do you have anything else you were saying?
Oh, no. It was exactly what you guys followed up with is, you know, it's a difference between making songs, right? You got MCs, like, this is why Jay, you know, people love him, people hate him, but Jay knows how to make great songs. Like, he learned that. This is what, you know, you can love or hate Puffy, but what he did with Biggie is he helped him make them songs, like, instead of just being the, you know, freestyle rapper, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely think there is something to that, because you could have the dope production, but the songs that are gonna stick to you are the songs, the fleshed out songs that, you know, have a theme, have you know, concept and all that. Yeah.
And the sad part about it is I can't remember if we were on Clubhouse or if we was on here last week, but we were talking about how Jay has had like 3 lives. Like, you know, like he's had
on Clubhouse.
Clubhouse conversation. And he had chances. Like, he came out with the jazz, and it was like, oh, that Jay-Z. Then he came back out with the original flavor, rapping all fast. And then we had that Jay-Z. Then we had drug dealing Jay-Z. And then the whole second album was him trying to figure out how to make these radio songs. You know, so then we had that Jay-Z. So Jay has had like 9 lives. And I don't know why he was able, maybe it was just the money behind him, that he was able to have 9 lives. Because most MCs, we kill Nas for, you know, You Owe Me. But there are people on the timeline that'll tell you, you know, Sunshine off the second album ain't that bad. And The City Is Mine ain't that bad. And I'm like, come on, y'all, stop. It ain't that bad. Y'all know my philosophy on ain't that bad. You had sex with a woman, you asked her how it was, she said it ain't that bad. You ain't do
oh my God.
It ain't that good either.
Ain't that bad in 2021. It's like, oh, 5 mics. No, nigga, like, please.
I'm sorry. Mars wrote me on Twitter today and said that we have to make a compilation of all of Kill's analogies.
Yes,
so this is the tomato, and then this is the.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Like, yo, if you ask a girl, how was I? And she said, you're not that bad. I mean, I'm sure you don't leave feeling like, oh shit, I really did work tonight. Like, no. So stop trying to tell me in 2021, not that bad is a good thing. Like, it really isn't. But my bad, bro. Who do you got up? Who are you giving the clean slate?
Clean slate after album 1 is going to the D.O.C. If he didn't have that accident, he was special to me. He was special. Like, when you first heard, he's one of them guys, when you first heard him, you was like, yo, this dude got something different. He's it. And for us East Coast dudes, like, he was so you can get into his stuff easier. I don't know. I don't know what it was. You know how it is being on the East Coast, how we receive certain stuff. You know what I'm saying? He was the one that it was just easy to receive his music and like his flow. He made good songs. He had star power to me. I just thought, he was on his way, and that accident of all things takes his voice away. It was just unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? I was really young when it happened. I was upset about that, man, because that was my guy. So I would say the D.O.C.
Yeah. Nick, you were gonna chime in?
Yo, that was my pick too. For my first pick was the D.O.C. I have that written down right here on the cheat sheet here. So, yeah, everything Ralph said, I co-sign. Just the D.O.C. was easy to listen to. Again, same thing. Growing up on the East Coast, man, he just had an easy flow. It was different than like the rest of the stuff coming out, and he's definitely like one of hip hop's biggest what ifs. And going through the 90s, everyone was like, well, if D.O.C. didn't get in that accident, and you heard that for years on end. So when I came to my list, that was like the first person that came to mind also was the D.O.C. because he had it, man. The formula, no one could do it better. Mind blowing, just the way he is smooth on the beats and that voice, and fall into the state of mind of what I just created, right? Like, and then to know what happened, like, it was sad because, and it wasn't like he died, right? But his voice died, and for someone that's in that industry, it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
I remember being a shorty too, and it was just like, yo, how do you get in a car accident and lose your voice? Like, I just never heard of that. Being a kid, like, I'm probably 14 when this happened. So it's like, people get in car accidents, you break your arm, you break your leg, you're paralyzed, but you lose your voice? Like, I never even...
They said it crushes larynx, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just, as a shorty, it's just like, yo, that's bugged that would happen. But yeah, I was saying that on one of our What If shows. I said, yo, I know I'm outvoted all the time, but yo, I believe that, if D.O.C. still had his voice and Cube leaves NWA and D.O.C. joins, I don't know if they get washed, like, with no Vaseline, because D.O.C. would have had something for Cube. Like, I know mofos love Cube, but
I love
D.O.C.
Cube,
only
but
had
you
that
are right.
one album, but bro, I think you said it best. He was ahead of his time. The way that he was rhyming, like, we talk about Rakim all the time. We don't talk enough about how D.O.C. came in with that funky enough. And just, when that beat came in, I remember watching that video in black and white, just with like my mouth open, like, yo, who the fuck is this? I ain't never heard nothing like this, And like you said, I think if the accident doesn't happen, and you're still talking about Dre in his heyday, you know what I mean? You're still talking about Dre in his bag, like what those two next D.O.C. albums could have sounded like between, 88 and maybe 96 with Doggy Style, like, yo.
Can you imagine?
One of the discographies in hip hop, So, Nick, did you want to go with another one, or you just want to wait till?
No, let someone else have their time. You get me on the second one go around, man.
Eddie, who you got, good brother?
All right, my first one that I'm gonna go with is gonna be Inspectah Deck, Rebel Lioness. He.
Now, what are you changing? What are we changing in the trajectory of? We got time machines. We're going back in time. Yeah. Rel is stopping D.O.C. from getting in the car. Porsche is hooking Ras Kass up with Dre at a party or something, like, or with Battle Cat at the club. Like, what are you going back in time? What are you going back in time doing for?
I'm going back.
Are you turning off the water in the house so the flood doesn't happen? Are you shutting off the water?
Sorry, I need to know which flood, because there's
right. Are you moving RZA out the first flood or the second flood? So what are you going back in time to change?
Well, what I would do is I would shift when his album was released. I think I would say at least personally, as far as the Wu members, right? Method Man was the star, but as far as like highlight verses, like Deck had all the highlight verse. I feel like he deserved to get released, after Method Man's, and maybe that was the plan, maybe it was the flood. So definitely, hire a full-time plumber you know, to RZA's basement, you know, just on call, yo.
RZA's the only person I know who had a flood from the basement, from the bottom up, and then moved in an apartment and had a flood from the upper
top down. Yeah,
like, like you get water coming from you. You about to be Noah's Ark, my nigga. Like you have gotten water from every direction. Like, I mean, that would be the thing. You think, okay, boom, we had a flood in the basement. You know what? We gonna move the studio upstairs this time, and there's another flood. So, all right. So
crazy,
you would have had Deck's album coming out after Meth instead of Dirty.
Yeah, exactly. You know, or at least like around the same time. Like I felt like, you know, he would have capitalized on his popularity, but also, you know, like we said with Ras Kass, you know, get him an A&R. You know, I think that first album with, you know,
don't think RZA would have been dope A&R? I mean, RZA A&R on all those classic, you know, Wu albums.
Yeah. I think the first album would have had a lot of hype on him, but I think that moving forward, like even some of these other albums that Deck put out, I feel like he could be more conceptual, right? You listen to Cream, right? You listen to his verse on Cream, and I feel like that's the lane that he needs to be in, at least, you know, like 50% of his album, right? Obviously he can spit, you know, he could give you the guillotine verses and the you know, triumph verses and protect your neck and all that, but you know, he could also give you something like Cream where it's introspective and makes you think, you know, and I would like to have heard more of that. So I think, you know, someone who could get that out of him, like more conceptual style album, show another side of him instead of just the spitter.
Tell me this, y'all. With Deck, sometimes I feel like Deck is like a 6th man of the year type. You know what I mean? Like he's the dude. He's Lou Williams. He's gonna come off the bench. He's gonna give you exactly like. You know, that's the difference for folk who really don't get basketball. Like when you're a starter, it's kind of like you just play. But when you're a 6th man, you're usually coming in with a reason. Maybe you're coming in to defend Rel and shut him down, or you're coming in because we're down and you're coming in with a specific assignment. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like that's Deck. Like when you just want Deck to set some shit off, or you want Deck to do a guest verse, like Deck's heyday. I mean, shit. What was that joint he did with Gangstar?
Sure, Above the Clouds.
Above the clouds. Like I mean, like
I live scientists mentally scarred, right?
I mean, he does that, but I just always wonder, does he have, like, Ray may not be the best lyricist, but Ray got a swagger with him. Like Ray just got it. You know, Ghost may not be an incredible lyricist, but Ghost just got it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just seeing they verses, you see that they still just got that same swagger, even as old men. They still, I just don't know. Even Old Dirty had it. Old Dirty, when you saw Old Dirty, you knew Old Dirty. And I never knew like if Deck and you guys had that. And we all know Deck got bars. We all know Deck is nice, but does Deck have it to give you more than an incredible 16?
All right, so my question is, Master Killer. I didn't think Master Killer had it in the scope of being in the clan. Like he had some nice verses, but I never thought that he would have the kind of career he had. Like he dropped some heavily acclaimed albums. Like No Said Date was amazing. The Brooklyn something Made in Brooklyn. I can't remember, but you know he had some really dope albums, and I think you know. His storytelling was a big part of that, and that's where I'm kind of getting, like, if Deck could kind of mix in some storytelling in there to kind of not make it like one big cipher on his album, right? I feel like the first album obviously would have been a clan affair, would have been a Wu affair, you know, all the guest spots and stuff. But then after that, was going to maintain his career. You know what I mean? I think he would have needed to kind of get into some more storytelling and concepts like that.
All right, makes sense. JR, who you got, good brother?
Who am I starting with? I'm gonna start with. I want a clean slate for Tamia. I want a clean slate for her. I feel like Quincy Jones didn't do her right at all, because how you come out with the single in 97 and I'm 95 and then she comes out with her album in 98. Like by then it was
now, You Put a Move on My Heart, that was off of Q's album, right?
Yeah, in 95. Okay. And then you get her on Missing You in 96, and then we don't get an album to the end of 98. Like it was like nobody cared anymore. It was like by the time she came out, it's sad that her original single of So Into You was bigger when she did it with Fabulous. Than did it by herself. Like that, right? It tells you that it wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? So for me, if Quincy and them would have came out with her in like 97, I think everything would have kind of been different for her. And she wouldn't have never went under the radar, because the girl can sing. She brings out great albums. The albums are dope, but nobody really pays attention because it was like the fire was already out by the time she came out in 98. It was like you had too many good albums in 98 and this is her debut. You know what I mean? Like you had Lauren and Brandy and Monica and all Faith and 112 and all these other, you know what I'm saying? And we're not going to pay attention to her. And I think that sucks.
All right, so you're going back in time to make Quincy drop an album right after You Put a Move on My Heart.
I would even drop it right after I'm Missing You, because I mean Quincy's Q album, that album came out at the end of 95. So then you got to Set It Off that came out in the summer of 96. I say by the fall of 1996, the beginning of 97, that's when Tamia should have came out. So then she could have had that 97 on her own.
And who produces this album? Because 97 is around the time that Timbo was popping with Aaliyah, right? I'm just trying to get a scope of the sound of R&B.
Yeah, you had that. Then you had this 97. So you of course had Jam and Lewis. You had Jermaine.
So who do you get her in the studio with? Who are you getting Tamia in the studio with?
I still would get her with the same people that she was on the album with.
Here's the thing. I don't know those people. Who
you do. You know Jermaine Dupri. You know Stevie J. You know who else is on there? Tim and Bob is on there. Like you know them. I would keep the same people. I just would bring it out earlier. That's all.
Okay. See, I never heard Tamia's first album because I hated You Put a Move on My Heart. Like, y'all know me. I hated any type of... If it wasn't about having sex, I didn't care about no goddamn R&B. So I'm going to just keep it a buck with you. So You Put a Move on My Heart.
That's real.
If you wanted to put a move on something else, I was listening. But my heart, I'm a pass. So how was the album, though? Was the album...
It was good. It was a good album. But again, you had so many strong R&B albums out in 98. It was like
just couldn't compete.
She couldn't compete. So I think, and even Quincy Jones did an interview and said if I could have did her right, she would have been bigger than what she is.
All right.
She had Tim and Bob on the album.
They did So Into You.
Wow. Okay. I like them.
Yeah, they're dope. Oh, they're dope.
Yeah.
Oh, they're dope. Oh God.
All right. Good brother Ev popping in.
Oh, Ev.
Popping in. What's good, y'all?
What's good?
I ain't shaved in a week, and you can tell. God damn. What's y'all, man?
Nigga, I ain't shaved in almost 2 years. I mean, it's all good.
But you trimmed up. You lined up real nice. I'm in work mode, so I have it. I take a shower. That's what I can commit to. I commit to a shower.
I heard that.
All right, good brother. Who are you going back in your time machine with Doc and Marty to change the trajectory of their career and give them a clean slate?
Give them a clean slate.
So far, we've said Ras Kass, D.O.C, Inspectah Deck, and Tamia.
A clean slate, definitely Ras Kass. I would also say Third Eye. Quincy, yeah, I would also say Hood.
Kid
Hood.
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I would and somebody else. Oh shoot. Damn, I can't think of the last person.
Right, you just texted me the last person.
No. That's the one I want to stop and never do nothing else ever again.
That's the blackball.
That's the one can we just stop having Common albums already? Can we just not do any more Common songs? I want no more.
You know what? I'm with you,
I don't want no
bro.
more.
I'm good. I don't need comment ever. That you know what? That is it.
Good.
That's
I don't want no more. I don't want no more.
yeah.
I mean, it's usually like, I get that thing. They can go over. They can go out. Maybe they'll come back.
The problem with Kanye, he's a habitual line stepper. I'm going back in time 5 and 6, 7 times to save his career. It's been too many.
Yeah. I don't know if the time machine got that much energy.
Right. Yeah. The flux capacitor ain't working that well for Kanye. So, you staying with us or you just out?
I'm jumping in for a second. I'm like in the middle of a session, but I looked at the time and I was like, damn, I should have called you like a little bit ago.
You got anybody else you go back in time for?
Somebody else I would go back in time for. Yeah, I feel like the Far Eye, Hey Ru, the Far Eye. I will go back too for Defara. I feel like Defara could have been bigger and should have been bigger than what he was.
What do you change though?
I don't know what necessarily happened to his career. I know he did that one album, then you didn't hear from him for a while, and I think that was the thing that kind of hurt his career, was the fact that he had the one album and it was good. It wasn't bad. It was a good album, but you wanted more. And 2-3 years later, you just didn't hear from him for a long time.
Right.
So I would definitely go back for Defara, because I thought Defara would have been something serious at least.
Right.
Also, to change their careers, I wish not to change their career. No, actually, no, I'm not gonna say that. I wanted a whole lot more OC in my life, but OC had a good run. He had a good run. I wish I would have had more OC.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, most folks don't know. O's probably had about 7 albums out.
Yeah.
So he has the discography.
That's true.
After Jewels, it just kind of disappeared until kind of like Apollo Brown came back.
Yeah.
Also, that is.
Yeah. Also, J-Ru. That third, I think it was the third J-Ru. Like when he was gone for a minute, and then he came back with
Heroes for Hire, and it was just no Primo. You're going back in time, and you're fixing that whole Primo J-Ru.
I would fix the whole Primo collab, and I also, if I can go back in time, I would make it that Eddie Sanchez never left Primo's side. Not that Primo couldn't do it on his own, but I feel like they just had such good chemistry, man. I just wish it was more consistent throughout the time frame. I think we would have appreciated some of the Primo stuff a little bit more. If that had happened.
You just made me think of something too. All right, dope. All right, well, stay with us as long as you can, bro. I know you in a session.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna stay for a little bit, and then I'll just drop out, man. I ain't making no fuss, not like that.
The first person I got is Mos Def, man. Like, I remember when Mos came out, and like I guess the Black Star was 98. I just remember thinking like, yo, this dude, he could be it. I was like, yo, Biggie just died. I'm like, this dude could be the dopest MC walking the planet Earth. Like, to me, he had it all. He had the bars, he had the voice, the personality, he had the swag. Like, Mos was just dope. He was the actor before the rapper. So I'm looking at some of his roles, like in Brown Sugar, The Italian Job, something the Lord made on HBO. He killed that role. Cadillac Records as Chuck Berry, Next Day Air. Like, I never saw Mos as, that's just Mos. No, it's like, yo, he an actor. Like, he do that. But then 2011 came the name change. Then 2013, he started doing the Guantanamo Bay. He was doing a thing with the force feeding. And again, somebody out there watch may be like, well, Kel, maybe that's what he wanted to do. And again, I'm not saying more power to the person. I'm just saying as a fan who wanted hip hop. Mos, I understand, is an artist. He is the person that you cannot put in a box and just say, you want me to just do this. He wants to do it all. I'm just being a selfish hip hop fan right now. I didn't want a Black Jack Johnson album of him and a rock group. I didn't want any of that stuff. I just wanted raucous records, Mos. You know what I mean? And even if you had to do a Fab joint, how Fab will give you the soul tapes for us backpackers, and then he'll go out and do his radio shit. Like, I get it, bro. You got to pay your rent. You got big houses. You got cars and all that. I get it. Do that, but still give us backpackers something. I just felt like Mos left us hanging, he was supposed to do the album with Mannie Fresh. I ain't even a Mannie Fresh fan, but I was interested in hearing how that collab was gonna go down. I'm still waiting on this Black Star album that Madlib did. You know, that I don't know if we're ever gonna see the light of day. So I just feel like he should have so many more albums. Like, I love Black on Both Sides. The New Danger was cool. True Magic and The Ecstatic. I mean, they were all right albums, but again, I just felt like Mos Def could have been. To me, he's a 5 mic MC. He's one of them MCs that every time he drops, he can make a 5 mic album. I mean, whether it's Dave Chappelle, him in the car ride when he was doing that Ledge joint, that was fucking crazy. You know, Rel, I see it in your face. You already know what I'm talking about. When he in the car with Dave Chappelle, just riding. Yo, Mos is going the fuck in.
Like, what verse was that? Do you remember the verse?
I mean, it was a joint called
that was from that was on his second album.
Yeah, it was
Post Edge was on his second album.
Yeah. Even a joint with him and Talib on Chappelle with the What's Beef. That whole joint was crazy.
His verse was crazy on that.
Exactly.
Bro. His verse was crazy.
You know what I mean? So that's my pick is Mos Def. I would just go back in a time machine, and again, it's just me being a selfish fan because he's just like a 3000. You know, he's an artist. And again, you can't just put no artist in a little box and say, just rap like this. But I would have loved just Mos to just at least do whatever the fuck you want to do. Just give us something to. That's all I'm asking. You know what I mean? Like, chase your dreams, do rock, do reggae, do country, do whatever you want. But just continue to still feed us hip hop heads. And I don't think we've had a Mos Def album. I think this says 2009. We haven't had a Mos Def album in 11 years. And in my opinion, we haven't had a good Mos Def album in almost 20 years. So it's like, I would go back in time and kind of just tell that nigga like, yo, can you just please still give us some hip hop? You know, chase your dreams, but still give us some bars, because it's too many great moments that, you know, just could be there. Because, Ralph, that Edge joint in Dave Chappelle, the beat ain't even crazy. No. It's not even like no crazy beat. It's just Mos just going in. And that's what I mean by, like, Mos is one of them artists that the beat don't have to be crazy for me to still hear what you're kicking. You know what I mean? Yeah. And for me to be like, God damn, he is slaughtering this joint. Now I'm gonna have to go watch that shit after we get off of this.
Do you think his star? Go ahead, my fault. Go ahead.
What I was saying, that's off of the New Danger. You know, that Close Edge joint is on the New Danger. That was his second album. My problem with the New Danger is that it was inconsistent. Like, he was trying to make. It was like he started to make a Mos Def album, then he wanted to make a Blackjack Johnson album, and that became the New Danger.
Is the New Danger the one with the panties on it?
The panties, yes. Yeah.
And he enjoys because that's a slow jam. I put that on my slow jam tape.
That
so, like you said, it's all over the place, and it's not a bad album. But again, it's just for me. Like, even when I was messing with Bousse, it was kind of like, yo, don't try to do all these things in this one album. I'd rather you do a boom bap album. Then if you want to do some trap, then do a trap album. But don't try to fit 8 different styles to appease all your audiences on one album, because it's not going to be cohesive. Like,
do you think his star power kind of got in the way of that? Because he was a star.
Right.
You know, he's in the Alicia Keys video. He just had it. Do you think it kind of got in the way of him returning back to his roots of what we wanted to hear? Because he could have gave us a mixtape series and we would have been happy. You know what I'm saying?
You know what the problem is with artists? Like, and here's the thing, and this is not a diss. I don't want anybody to take this as a diss to Fab. I don't look at Fab as an artist. I look at Fab as an MC. So when you're an MC, you're able to let me go do these radio songs to get this money, and then let me go over here and put in this bar work to keep my fans happy. When you're an artist, to me, Mos is like the New York version of 3000. 3000 is like, I'm not inspired. I'm not rapping. You know what I mean? And I'll just sit here and play the flute in fucking various places throughout America, you know, and take with fans. And he's happy with that. Like, that's how an artist is. And to me, that's Mos. Like, an artist, if you're not inspired, if I'm not inspired to make beats, I won't make beats. I'm not going to ever come in here and just make a beat just to make a beat. Like, something has to inspire me. So I have to hear something. Yeah. So, and if Mos is like, yo, I'm not hearing nothing, like nobody's pulling at my strings, like I'm not hearing anybody who's ill, and I'm like, ooh, I got to, you know, rock with them. Right. I think that's the problem with Mos. So I think, again, if you're an MC and that's your job, then you're able to do that. You're able to go into the game and do whatever the coach needs you to do. But when you're an artist, if you don't have the inspiration to do it, and with artists, I don't never want to push it. If 3000 ain't inspired, I'd rather not hear shit from 3000 than hear a whack ass 3000 album just because the fans are begging him or the label is pushing him to do an album. It's like, yo, if you don't got it, I'm like Nas, go to Clue Tapes for old verses. I ain't got no problem going back to Aquemini if you ain't got it, no. So I mean, I think that's it. You gonna say something?
So also, yeah, what is it with these artists and the unreleased music, right? So obviously talking about this Black Star album with Talib and Madlib, right? And Talib is like, nah, it's done. We could put it out and all that.
Well, they're talking about sampling clearance with this. They're saying the sample clearance problems. So I mean, I don't. Again,
that's what they're talking about now. I don't know, man.
When Mo said something about the album, I remember Kweli saying like, "We do got a new album coming out." Like Kweli was like, "Oh, we do." I didn't. So again, it's so much but hoopla around that problem. So who knows? I mean, God bless the dead. What's my guy's name? Violator Records. Chris Lighty. He was saying how Q-Tip is like that with albums. Like he's just such a perfectionist that it's like, yo, give me the fucking album. You know what I mean? So most could be like that. Like he can have all these albums that we would think are amazing, but maybe he's just like, nah, it ain't ready, or it needs that one more song. Or, I'm telling y'all, working with MCs and artists are two fucking totally different things. Working with artists is amazing because you make incredible music, but you got to be on their fucked up calendar. Like artists don't, their calendar is not our calendar. How like they say God's day, a day for God is a blink of an eye. That's an artist. Like an artist could take 5 months to write one song, and the song is going to be incredible. You know what I mean? But they have to have the right, je ne sais quoi. It's not bright enough. The cumulus clouds. I need this shit. They need a whole bunch of shit to be right for them to create. So, and again, that's no diss to artists. I'm not saying no diss to anybody, but I think that may be the thing with most. But I know the nigga got like 9 kids and a lot of child support, and he keeps talking about retirement. So nothing will make you unretire than child support. So we might just be getting a Mos Def album sooner than we think. Porsche, who you got up next?
I want a clean slate for The Firm.
Good.
Porsche. Oh,
Jesus.
I love you.
Again, I am in a very small minority that like the Firm album, of course.
Me too.
Yeah, me and Rel, like we get it. But I think that, and the clean slate isn't. I like the production. I think the direction is what is the problem. I think that. I even like the mafioso sort of theme. I like that. What I think hurt the whole concept was the shiny suit era thing. Like it was just too poppy. It was too like Nas took some really, really great MCs and really like didn't like kind of, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say box them in, but made them do something that it was out of their lane, it seemed like. And I think that hurt the group because as fans, we were introduced to The Firm off the It Was Written album, right? Right. That's where we first heard about it. So we think like, okay, Nas has something coming, and with the quality of Illmatic of It Was Written at the time, you're thinking, okay, it's going to follow sort of that vision or some sort of, hip hop in that way. And then when we got The Firm, it was kind of like, for me, I was good, but a lot of fans were like, what the hell is all this nonsense? Why is it so radio friendly? Why is it so, this, when Nas and all the MCs are very capable to do something that was a little bit more within their lane. So again, I give them the mafioso theme, keep that, but be more sort of like naturally yourself. So
you're going back in time, and are you changing the release date? Are you saying like it came out at the wrong time? No, I'm not
changing the release date. I'm going back to before the release, to when Nas was creating the concept, and I want him to have a different, I want him to take that radio, I guess like the charting and the mainstreamness out of the whole concept. That's what I want.
But we probably have to change the year too, because I'm assuming that's why he did it, because just it was released during that shiny suit era, So it's kind of like you have to. That to me, that's why so much great hip hop got shelved during those late '90s years.
When did Only Built for Cuban Links drop?
95.
Okay, so I guess if you're Only Built for Cuban Links still had momentum, even in '97, right? Like Only Built for Cuban Links. I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, it was like imprinted in us. It was like tattooed on us from '95. So we're still playing it.
Right.
But I don't know if Cuban Links comes out in '97 just because of all the, in '97, '98, if I'm wrong, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that's when we had the whole split and you had Stakes is High, Daylight.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
the radio,
right.
And J. Rue was this. We were at civil war with each other. You know what I mean? I don't think it should have been a different release. I think it could have kept the same release. I think fans with Nas and with the lineup of MCs that he had didn't expect or want them specifically to be making the radio hits that they were making. Okay. I just don't want them to do it. I want the release date to be the same because we're introduced to the firm off of It Was Written. We still want the kind of the momentum from It Was Written and then get into the firm. So I like the release date. I like the lineup. I like the concept. I just want that thought of Nas to be radio friendly to be out of there. That's that little line. But still everything remains the same. That's just me. I don't know. So better producers. So you want more?
I want different production.
Okay.
Yeah, different production.
So kind of like how somebody
that one.
So it's kind of like how people didn't like It Was Written because they wanted more street production. They wanted more Primo, Large Professor. So you would have wanted that for the firm. You would have wanted more.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I play devil's advocate real quick? Because I agree with everything that Portia's saying as far as my personal taste, but devil's advocate is, without those radio-friendly songs, does the album even get released or does it get shelved? Like, all right, Nas, this is your passion project, but you ain't giving us anything for the radio. We can't sell this. This gets shelved. This gets put on the back order or whatever, until God knows when, and never sees the light of day.
I think they went too far with the radio stuff because it was too many of them on that. It was too much of it on the album. Too much like old songs that your mom know that they sampled, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
bruh, I've never heard the album. I heard Firm Biz, and I was like, oh, this shit ain't for me.
That's Tina Marie,
right? So, but I'm like, yo, if y'all say I'm a Square Biz, this album isn't for me. So y'all can keep that. If it's like y'all can have that one.
There's a couple. They did Cheryl Lynn's Encore. Like they did a couple, but then you have Phone Tap. Like Phone Tap was so hard, and they got a lot of play. It wasn't a huge hit, but it was like a street hit. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like they went too far in that direction on that album. On an album that I really, because the album has like really high highs and it has some lows. You know what I'm saying? It kind of. But the highs are amazing. Like some of the songs are crazy, and I feel like it lacked direction a little bit as well.
To answer Eddie's question, I think personally, this is just me thinking. I mean, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I just think with the lineup of MCs, I think it still would have gotten released just because of the time, the year that it was released in. I don't think it would have been shelved, but I also don't think that it would have been obviously as heard, but I think that could have helped it because what happens is people like Kill, for example, don't hear Firm Biz as the first single and then write off the whole album. If there was like Rel was saying, if there was less radio and they only had like the one to get them sort of their foot in the door, that's cool. We could have probably let that slide, but there was just too many. And I think Nas's vision for that was to be a little bit more commercial mafioso. Kind of, I always thought of the Firm album or the Firm concept as like an extension of Only Built for Cuban Links, but like Nas's spin on it, if that makes sense.
I agree.
That's what it should have been. That's what it should have been.
Well, it should have been along the same lines, but Nas took it and sort of ran with it like the wrong way.
Have you heard what Drake? Have you heard what Dre said about that album, though?
About who?
What Dr. Dre said about
Dre,
that
I
album.
thought you said Drake. I was like, Lord,
no. I would never do that. I
didn't hear what Dr. Dre said.
I'm going to ask you.
I already know the vibes.
Said,
I already know the vibes on that one.
Sorry, man.
But Dr. Dre said it was too many hands.
Yeah.
In dealing with that in the pot. Yeah, and he was like, it got so chaotic. You know, and people had their entourage and this person. Yeah. He said it just got, and I think that was another thing that hurt the album because you heard Firm Biz and you was like, I ain't listening to this album. Right. But you missed out on I'm Leaving. You missed out on Throw Your Guns. You missed out.
I mean, keep in mind, I heard those joints because, of course, the DJs were playing them on my radio station, but it wasn't. So, Porsche, I agree with you 100% what you're saying, that if you just let AZ, Nas, Mega, and Foxy just body niggas for 12 songs, or like you said, 11, Ghost used to have to do that. People forgot that Ghost had that song with Carl Thomas coming into court. It was like, Ghost, we know you got to do that bullshit for the radio, but we know the rest of the album is going to be dope. So I'm with everything you just said. I just think Nas, after it was written, his lifestyle changed. And I just think Nas was like, I'm not going back to QB. So we could do Illmatic and I was in QB broke, or we could do this Firm Biz shit and be rich and hang with Dre and chill with Puffy and get money and get cars. And
but it blew up in his face. The album was a flop.
But I think that you're like, that's the gamble. You know what it is? It's like, boom, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna graduate, and I'm gonna get a job making $100,000. Blew up in a lot of people's faces. But that's the plan. Like it was like, this is what you do. Go to college and you're gonna be rich, and you go to college and you're damn near poor. You know what I mean? So it's like that was the blueprint, and he lost. But I think that in his mindset was where it was going. But I agree with you. I wish they would have done a whole Firm album of just, you know, I Shot Your LL type beats. Like that would have been crazy.
Yeah,
like,
just less radio, whatever that looks like. So Folk and Tone want to produce it, but just go less commercial, you know?
Right. I feel you.
They need a Richard Nichols, man. Because I
don't know if we want Richard Nichols. I mean, it ain't like the Roots got the discography from heaven on earth. Like Rich, God bless the dead. Rich, I think, was a great manager. I think Rich was a great visionary to be able to see the Roots to where they are right now. I don't think the Roots are on Fallon. I don't think the Roots have the Roots Picnic. I think he was a great visionary. But I don't think, and again, it's just me, the Roots don't have a great discography in my opinion. They have...
Well, I'm just saying, like, you know, what you got from Philadelphia and Things Fall Apart and all that. Like even, you know, Phrenality, I thought Phrenality was I personally love that album, but you know, I'm just saying, like with all them working parts, like, you know, like what Ralph said, Dre said, there was too many hands in the pot. Like just have one person, and I'm not saying specifically Richard, but they needed someone like that I
agree with you.
An
you needed a puff
producer,
to say, you know what, to make Life After Death, we're all going to Jamaica. That way can't nobody be texting their girls back or pages going off, or how RZA was like, we're going to do Wu-Tang forever over here. So you're right. There needed to be somebody who said, yo, with Kanye, with my Deep Dark Twisted Fantasy, where I think they went to Jamaica and he had the rules. He was like, look, from this time to this time is your time, but from 8 o'clock to 4 a.m., we're working, no phones, no Instagram, like, you know, it was very drill sergeant. So I agree with you there that they needed somebody to kind of be like, Nas, leave Jungle and QB, AZ, leave East New York, Foxy, you and Gavin need to go somewhere, Mega, get your goons over there, and we just gonna come in here and make this music. But easier said than done. It got to be somebody who, you know, all those different people, you know, respect and could listen to it. I'm shocked Dre couldn't do it, but, you know, neither here nor there. Because if anybody could have done it, I would have thought Dr. Dre, it kind of would have been like, to me, it's like listening to Phil Jackson. It's like nobody else could have had Kobe and Shaq doing hot yoga but Phil Jackson based off of his track record. So I would think Dre being behind this, he could have nipped a lot of that in the bud, but who knows how deep he really was into it. Grae, who you got up next?
My next person is Big L. I feel like just potential that wasn't reached. You know what I'm saying? Due to his untimely death. And I heard that around that time he had like some things on the table that really would have helped his career grow. He was possibly dealing with Jay-Z, and he had some stuff on the table that could have, you know, helped his career grow. And then what made it so crazy is when his album came out after he passed, like it was really good. Like it was some heat on that album, and like you know how
about the joint, the big picture,
the big picture. Yeah, you know how albums are after the person passed. A lot of them aren't that good. The big picture is really good, and it just showed the potential that he had. And you know, he was affiliated with D.O.C.
I forgot the Enemy was on this joint. I forgot the Enemy. Yeah, with Fat Joe was on there.
He got the joint with Big Daddy Kane on there. He got
Boy Casualties of a Dice Game.
Yeah, he got fire on there, man.
Ebonics was
right. So
that was a heater.
It's you know, just unfortunate that he passed, because I think he was on his way to bigger things. So my person was Big L.
Yeah. You know the crazy thing, man, and I know I'm in the minority in this. I don't think Big L gets much bigger than what he was. You know what I'm saying? Even if he goes to Rockefeller, I feel like even if he went to Rockefeller, they would have just tried to Jay-Z that nigga and had him up and trying to make radio songs like what they did to Bleak. Like I was like, yo, y'all should just let Bleak rap. Like let Jay hold his charts down and let Bleak just be, because Bleak's verse on Hold It Down off that Hard Knock Life album, that first joint over Primo.
That was
That's it. That was Bleak's whole lane right there. Like, this is what I mean about people not being smart A&Rs. I would have heard that like, yo, why don't we have Bleak and Primo in the studio? Like, why are we bullshitting getting him in the studio with trying to make songs for the radio? Like, that's Bleak's lane. And I don't think Rockefeller really had a good artist repertoire, a good A&R department to work with artists, because Bleak should have been bigger, and they just tried to follow the same blueprint, and you can't do that.
Right,
you know
not everyone's Jay-Z.
Yeah, not everybody's Jay-Z, and nobody at Rockefeller could say, you know what, let Jay do Jay, but let Bleak do Bleak over here. You know what I mean? And you know, because even with the whole Philly crew that came in, it's like nobody was really A&R in them. You know what I mean? They was just Freeway, just get in the studio with Justin, come up with what we do. Nobody was really A&R in Cameron and Dipset. It was like, yo, just they go in the studio with just come up with Old Boy. You know what I mean? So that's the hard part that I love L, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being at where L was. Like, I don't think there's nothing that we could do to make OC bigger than what OC was.
I guess it was the career cut short thing for me.
No. I totally agree.
We didn't get to see.
I think Big L would have had multiple dope albums. I just don't think, because I'm always looking at it like Nas, all those people with the ill pen kind of like are in that Nas lineage. But I only feel like all of them couldn't blow up the way Nas did. Like, truth be told, how did Nas blow up? Was it really If I Ruled the World? Because according to everybody on Twitter, everybody didn't love Illmatic the way the East Coast did. You talk to Nick down in Atlanta, they weren't playing that. You talk to the Cash Out West Coast and Ray, they wasn't banging Illmatic. So it seems the world picked up on If I Ruled the World. To me, it was the timing of Lauren being big. You know, the same way that they Quest talk about, you know, You Got Me. You know, I swear to God, you take Erica off You Got Me and keep Joe Scott on there, I bet you every record they don't win no Grammy. You know, that was Erica. They used to intro that on the radio in 92Q in Baltimore. Next up is You Got Me, Erykah Badu featuring The Roots. Erykah Badu is what sold that song. You know what I mean? So, like, I think without If I Rule the World, I wonder, does Nas blow up? Because I don't know what we could do for OC to make him blow up. And when I say blow up, I mean be bigger than the Backpack lane. You know what I mean?
If you look at Big L's MVP video, right? And, you know, they took that obvious sample for that song. Like, now watching it, like, I'm trying to listen to it like a less biased ear, and I'm like, I can't, like, even though that beat crossed over later on, right? Because, like, that was One More Chance, right? Same sample? Yeah. So, like, that worked for Big, but, like, for Big L, he he was just too hard, man. Like I never saw the commercial appeal in him. Dope. I enjoyed it.
And that's exactly
he was just like, you listen to that album, like Devil's Son, like larger crowds not picking up on that. He rapped too tough, too hard, I think, for a wider audience to pick up on.
And like the thing that Big had, Big just had that personality. You know,
didn't have it.
I don't know. What'd you say?
I don't think L had that personality.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like Big just has that bubbly personality. He can do a Juicy, you don't get mad at it. He can do a One More Chance, you don't get mad at it because you know he's gonna come back. But you know, it's almost funny how people like, Kill, I want to get on Twitter. How do you get to meet people? I'm not gonna. Everybody doesn't have my personality to meet people. Everybody can't get on Twitter and do what I do on Twitter because everybody doesn't have my personality. I can sit here and tell you every single thing to do, but if that's not your personality, it's not gonna come off authentic. I could be like, hey, show pictures of your kids. Here's my son. Like, it won't work the same way. And I think that's the thing. Like you said, I would have loved to see L's career be bigger, and I definitely. But I mean, I'm just thinking about, because we're bringing up all these lyricists. We're bringing up Ras Kass. We're bringing up Big L. You know, Eddie's talking about Deck. You know, I slipped in Elzai just for the hell of it. Like, I don't know what we could do for any of these people. And when we say blow up, I'm assuming we mean kind of like what Nas did. You know what I mean? That, you know, Nas just won a Grammy like fucking 30 years later from his debut album. Like, that Nas is still relevant, that people still know Nas, that people outside of backpackers and people who go stand up at concerts know Nas. I feel like people who sit down at concerts don't know Big L. That's when you in an arena, when you can sit down. People who know Big L are the people who are standing up at SOBs all night and at the Howard Theater and TLC on South Street. Like, so I don't know. We may have to just do a whole show trying to decipher why the hell can't lyricists blow up, because it's not fair, because these are the people who are the building blocks of hip-hop.
Hip-hop, yeah.
You know, but they can't blow up, and that's sad to see. Nick, who's your next person?
I'll go a little left. So I was thinking the R&B side. Maybe JR can help me out a little bit with like some of the math here. But I thought Rasan Patterson got, you know, he just did not get the push that he needed. And he was excellent, and he still is excellent. And you know, I was listening to a few tracks in the car the other day, and then my friend put up like a run of his albums, and the voice, or like when Where You Are came out, and what I really think happened, I think sexuality has something to do with it a little bit, of him not really getting that push. And so maybe he was a little early, you know, 96, 97. Came out of like Disney. He was on like Kids Incorporated in the early 80s. And, you know, gosh, who else was on there with them? I think Fergie was on there with them. Martika.
Kids Incorporated?
You know, he was on there. He made some excellent albums. And he came out with Love in Stereo right around the same time on MCA. With the Roots, gosh, who else was on it? Common. He got lost in all of that on MCA. He was an okay player, but he was out at the same time. So I remember, like, I started radio maybe a year, this was like 99, 2000. It just started radio maybe a year or two earlier, and I remember getting his stuff in the Flood, Jaguar Right, all that stuff. His stuff was mixed in, and I think he would have been better off coming out a little bit later down the line. Because I think he probably would have been better accepted. I think society would have changed a little bit. Maybe on the back end they wouldn't have made as much of a deal. Like, I never heard people in public say like, "Oh my gosh, you know, because of his sexuality he's not getting played." But who knows what the politics were elsewhere or within the industry. But what a talented singer, talented writer. You know, stuff for Brandy. I read all this stuff, and I just think he came out at like the first one, Where You Are, was great. And I thought that was great. And then when Love in Stereo hit, I think it just got lost in this big shuffle, because MCA had a lot of like artists. I don't think they really knew what to do with everybody, and they were just like, here, see what sticks. And he got caught in that, and I think he needed a different situation. So I don't know, maybe JR could back me up there.
That's true. And then they tried to throw him in that neo soul type of thing, and that's not him either. That was what I didn't like with neo soul. I hate that anyway. Yeah. But they brought that out, and they try to throw him in there, and that's not him. He's just a singing dude.
What was he?
He was like, if for me, I would say he was kind of like a Brian McKnight, a Joe, a this. Yeah. Like, he was a vocalist, like he is. And they, you know, when Neo Soul came out, it was like everybody that came out in 97 and 98. If you were a dude that had freaking your hair out, they throwing you in Neo Soul. That's just what it was. And then his album that he came out with, that debut, is not Neo Soul at all. Like, it's a straight R&B record. So I don't understand why they tried to throw him in there, and that just bothered me. But I think his sexuality did play a lot of role, because mine after that was going to be somebody else that messed up with that too. So.
Right. Now tell me this: do you think that there's only, like, I've always looked at the game like there's usually only one spot? You know what I mean? Like, Rel, you'll know, when Steph and AI came out the same year, you know, similar players, both point guards, both from the hood, tattoos, street edge, everything. But it seems like there's only room for one. Like, when Jay and Big was out, we all loved Big. That's why Big was selling $5 million and Jay could barely do 500,000. And people say, oh, it's because of Puff and Bad Boy. We all love Big. Like, let's just keep it a buck. Like, we just all love Big. We could have loved Jay too, but we just didn't. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, you can't, Usher and Chris Brown, like, can't coexist together. Or like Aaliyah and Beyonce. There's only room for one. You know, and I feel like in R&B, and of course, JR, you would know this much better than I would, it just always felt like at that time it was D'Angelo and Maxwell and everybody the fuck else.
But that's what the problem was then, because it was like that neo soul thing. Because you got to remember, during that time, you had Joe, you had Brian McKnight, you had John B, you had Usher, you had Candyman, you had this, and you had all these other dudes. They were still winning too. But it was just like when they threw Rasan in that neo soul with D'Angelo and Maxwell, he gets lost. Because it's like,
so you think if we go back in time and we don't market him as neo soul, we just market him as soul again. Okay, so you don't have to compete with D'Angelo and Maxwell, but now you got
but now he's competing with Joe, Brian McKnight.
Right, I'm like, but now you put him in the ring up against Usher, Candyman, and Joe.
But I think he would have got a little bit more if he would have just went as a regular soul artist. So he could have went against them, because then now you got the people that love the D'Angelo and Maxwell and Erykah Badu and all that. They listening to this like, wait a minute, that's not a kind of album like Brown Sugar.
Yeah,
this is not.
I hold you. I thought he was neo soul just based off of his look. Like, I've never heard.
And you see what I'm saying? And that was the problem.
But I mean, that's the thing. Even without nothing being marketed towards me, it's just, I look at him and I'm like, oh, you must be neo soul.
But see, and they marketed him that way. Right. They didn't have to, because if they would have just put him over there, I think he would have got a little bit more than he did.
He should have cut his hair. He should have done a Candyman and did like Aaron Hall. Like, I mean, that's the thing.
Well, they actually, in reality, they made Joe do that, because Joe came out with his hair when he came out.
That's what I mean by if it's 99 and you got dreads, locks, afro, you're gonna be putting.
Oh no, in 99 he had already cut it by then.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm sorry.
In the 90s.
Back in 95, 96.
Yeah, you're right.
Good pick, Nick. Eddie, who you got up?
I'm going with Jean Grae. I feel like Jean Grae is the dopest female MC that she'll make people's list, like, but she ain't really, even with all that, even with all the heads, she still ain't really known like that, and she really should have been. Like, for me, I look at her like she got the whole package. Like, she could spit. She's witty and funny in her lyrics. She gets personal. She could tell stories. Like, she came up with that whole Assassins concept on that Pheromones joint. You know, that was her thing, and that was supposed to be a whole separate album that she was going to do. My thing is, I think it was.
Back in time? What are you changing? What are you going to change?
I think she needs to get with a different label, because I think Baby Grand screwed her. I think even she talks about how that whole they released this whole thing, the Blue Sky Black Death. It basically took her vocals and without her permission or whatever, released this whole separate album that she had no involvement with. They were doing some shady stuff. but I think if she links up with a different label, link up with one producer, because I thought
what year is Jean Grae? Like, what are we talking?
So I mean, but Jean goes from back in the 90s, the whole underground with like Pumpkinhead and Natural Resource. She was Natural Resource, right? What? That was her, right?
Yeah, that was
would
her.
You want her on Raucous?
I'm not even sure if Raucous, because Raucous
is just another one of these big L MCs that we're talking about that just can't blow up. Here's the thing. Maybe here's a better question. Can a female MC blow up and not be naked?
Yeah,
and I know Rhapsody did. But that's a lot off of the Ninth Wonder co-sign and Ninth with all the, he's at Harvard, he's at Duke, he's got.
So here's the thing, though.
Jean did a whole album with Ninth.
She had the Ninth Wonder co-sign.
The Genius album. She did a whole album with him, but it was too early.
Genius album. But
is she on his label? Because Rhapsody's on Jamla, right? And Jamla is also Young Guru is doing a lot of the mixing. Rhapsody is now managed by Rock Nation. So again, I'm just wondering, like I said about, is there more than one spot? Can we have more than one female MC who's dope and lyrical out, and can we have two at the same time?
Well, no, but she was on your man's label. She was on Quali's, Corey Smith's The Blacksmith stuff.
That's not a good one. That's not my guy.
That's what you're talking about.
That's not ain't like the Liv's label is really gonna do something out here. Ninth has that. Ninth had that nice little fit of where I'm cool with Jay-Z and then I'm cool with these street dudes, and I got Young Guru on speed dial, but then I'm also cool with Elzai. So he rises like I'm cool enough to do an album with Smith & Wesson, but then I can also get on Kendrick Lamar's album too. So Ninth is one of those few underground producers. To me, he's probably he's my least favorite out of his production crew. Like, to me, Not Smoke's Ninth Wonder. Why is it Not's on Kendrick Lamar album, but Ninth is? High Tech is in that crew of Ninth. And why? So again, I'm just wondering, can you have two dope female MCs? Because, Eddie, I've heard you champion Jean Grae ever since I've known you. I've heard lots of people do it, but I'm just like, we know we can have more than one stripper female MC. We can have Nicki, we can have Cardi, we can have Meg, we can have all the titty female MCs, but can we have lyrical female MCs more than just one?
What year is Eddie talking about?
Yeah, what year are you talking about?
Yeah, what year are you wanting to time machine to?
So I'm not talking about what Jean Grae with National Resources. I'm talking about like going back to like when I think her first solo was probably like around 2002.
Okay.
So maybe she links up with another label at that point. But even the Talib years, even with her with Blacksmith, right? One thing that Talib did do was he featured her a lot. He featured her on all his albums, all his mixtape joints, like so her name was getting out there. But what he didn't do, he didn't drop any Jean Grae projects. That's the problem with an artist with a label, right? They're focused on themselves. He's like, all right, I'm gonna help you. Then I think the Genius album was supposed to be dropped with Blacksmith. That got delayed. And then I think after that, once it did get released, it was kind of not as it wasn't as promoted as it should have been. And I think at that point she just got frustrated with the industry and kind of did her own thing. But I think if that release comes out when it's supposed to, and she's able to follow that up with another album, either with Ninth or someone else, with Nas or whatever. But I think that should have been, that could have been her momentum, even with all the other baby grand issues that she had. But it got fumbled, So it's really a label thing.
All right, no doubt. JR, who you got up next?
I got Tevin Campbell.
Okay.
And I got him because of that third album. I think his fourth album should have been the third, because I feel like
on the fourth album.
The fourth album, I think it was more ballad oriented, and I think that's what he needed for the third. I think he needed, like you saw when Brandy and Monica went to like the Dave Foster and Diane Warren to get those. He needed that for the third. I think.
Which one is Alone on? Is that the second?
Are you talking about Alone With You? That's the first.
Alone With You was the first album? Now the one that Kyle West did?
Yes, that's the first.
That's on the first album?
Mm-hmm.
Then what was about Shush? Was that the second?
That was
album?
on the second. That was on the second.
Yo, there is a great article that came out within like the last year about, I think, Tevin and all that stuff, which blew my mind. I didn't realize that like he was being pushed in all those directions, but you know, to write all that adult stuff at such a young age.
So early. Like it was so early. So yeah, so I think that, you know, and then again when he got to the third, it was all about Chucky Thompson, Bad Boy. Even Rasan Patterson wrote some great songs on there too. But I think
the third album is Back to the World album? Yes, the third album? Okay.
That's the one with Chucky on there, and he got Rasan on there, and there's no Babyface, there's no Prince, there's none of the players, there's no Kyle West, there's no Albie Shore, there's no Narder, Michael Wharton on there. He had nobody. So it was like, I think he was trying to find himself, and I think that it just didn't go right. And people didn't believe this. It was just like, no, he come in with braids in his hair. It was just, everything went wrong. You know what I mean? It went wrong.
All right, let me ask you a question.
In the fourth album, he got a haircut. He good. You know, it's straight. Everything cool. It's like, this album should have came there, because then he got Babyface back. He got, you know what I'm saying? Because on the third album, he had Babyface write a song, but Babyface ain't produce it. That's the difference. Babyface can write a song, but if he ain't produce it, it ain't gonna sound right. But if he produced the song and didn't write it, then he good.
All right, JL, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Is it just you got a little kid coming out in 1991 when D.O.C, the Bad Boys of Hip Hop, the R&B, you know, was it just timing with Tevin? You know, because by the time we're getting into the mid 90s, we're now getting into more TLC, we're getting into more sexual stuff, we're getting in the, you know, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, we're getting into more of a sexual part of R&B. You know, R&B is now becoming a little more street. D.O.C is doing remixes with, you know, I know in years to come, Wu-Tang and things like that, but we're seeing the blending of Mary and R&B becoming harder. And I always just felt like Tevin just didn't have a place there anymore. But do you feel like he still had a lane?
Yeah, that's why I think he needed to get with the Dave Foster and Diane Warren with that. Go to the contemporary. That was your lane. We knew you were a balladeer. That's what he really is. Tevin wants to sing. It's like, cool, we got Can We Talk? We got I'm Ready. That was cool. But he is a balladeer. And I think now with that, he should have went to what these artists did, because Aaliyah did it. Brandy did it. Monica did it. They made sure they had, she might have had the first night, but she had an I'm Waiting that was Diane Warren. Brandy might have had this, but then she still had Have You Ever. So they made sure. What?
Now, can I ask a question too?
Yeah.
Number one, we're talking about two attractive women out of the three that you named. Okay.
Right.
So that plays a part too.
But okay.
That plays a part too. Okay. Cats wanted to bang Monica. Cats wanted to bang Aaliyah. Okay. I don't know if a lot of women were sitting around like, yo, if I catch Tevin Campbell out after the show. So again, like, you know, I'm just saying that R&B was getting much more sexual at this time. So I'm just wondering, does a little kid have what it takes to really make it out here?
But it wasn't. That's what you keep going there. I'm saying that wasn't Tevin's lane anymore.
No. I know what you're saying, that's not his lane. But my thing is this. Let's say my lane right now is making really heartfelt hip hop that just talks about, you know, welcoming black women in and hugging them and loving them and just supporting black women. That's my lane. That there ain't no lane for that in hip hop right now. So guess what? Nobody's gonna buy my album. So I know what you're saying. That's Tevin's lane. That his lane was the ballads and the singing, but that wasn't where R&B was going in the 90s. And we were leaving that because that's the Alexander O'Neal, that's the Force MDs, the Tender Love. Like in the 90s.
But I mean, but if you think about it, he came out with I'm Ready during that time that Mary was hot and Jodeci was hot and all that.
But I mean, but he was, well, and again, I'm leaning on you. Mm-hmm. Do you think Tevin was as big as Mary?
He was actually bigger than her.
Now, what I mean by bigger is I'm not talking about label-wise. I'm talking about in the streets, Tevin Campbell was bigger than Mary J. Blige.
Wasn't you singing Can We Talk? Wasn't you singing I'm Ready?
I was, but I was banging Whisker 4. I'll tell you this, I never heard Tevin Campbell's first album. I done played Whisker 411, the Def that the tape done popped. I had to buy the CD.
You get confused because his first album, yes, that had Alone With You, that had Round and Round, that had all of that. When he got to I'm Ready, that shot Tevin out of here. Like he was out of here. Everything on that album was out of here. So this was the time that Jodeci was hot. This was the time Mary was hot. He was bigger than them. Like for real. He was,
you know what?
Because Mary was not getting that crossover appeal like he was, but he still was getting played in the hood. People were still
I think that this may just be again the age difference. Because and again, all I can talk about is what was being played at Morgan State. Wasn't nan nigga playing no goddamn Tevin Campbell when a girl came over at Morgan State. Nobody wasn't walking through nobody's dorm hearing no goddamn Tevin Campbell. Now maybe,
but you didn't put it. You didn't put the songs on your playlist, on your sex playlist.
But there's a difference between.
You see what I'm saying? Like
no. But listen, there's a difference between putting a song on a slow jam tape and playing SWV's debut album over and over and over again. There's a difference between playing one Warren G song versus playing The Chronic 8 million times. So
yeah, that wasn't it. I don't think it was getting ran that way. Yeah, I don't think Tevin's album was getting run that way.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, so I'm not disagreeing with you. You the guru. So I'm just saying that, you know, it just felt, for me at least, it just felt. In 91, I'm 18, that people weren't playing.
That first album definitely wasn't playing.
But you know what, in 93, like I'm reading right now while we're looking, it did sell 2 million records, right? Like, that's still an accomplishment. Like, it wasn't like it went double wood.
And that's what I'm saying, that I'm sure it sold more records than, let's say, SWV's first album. Right. But I know in my demographic of people, more people were playing SWV's album. Would you say? Oh,
technically SWV sold more because they sold 3.
Shut up then. Well, this is why you don't. This is the difference with me and
everybody. In your page,
I'm saying I'm wrong, and I'll move on. So there you go. So cool. All right, the next person I got up is Beans. I thought Beanie Sigel was going to, you know, when I heard him on Crew Love with the Monopoly and he had a whole style and he was street, he was everything about Philly. The first album, The Truth, came out in 2000. I was disappointed. I was like, yo, I expected more. The Reason came out in 2001. I was like, all right, this is better. And then The Becoming was 05. I think that's a 5-mic album. Easily my favorite Beans album. Can Feel It in the Air. I play that album back to back all the time. The problem is that this mofo, I didn't realize how much he went to prison. He went to prison for a year in 02. Then in 04 was convicted of federal weapon charges and did another year. 09 he got arrested for tax troubles, did 25 months. In 2012 got an additional 23 months for illegal prescription drugs. Then in 2014 was shot in a drive-by outside his crib and had to have a lung removed. And that's why his voice is raspy now. So if I'm going back in time, I'm just trying to find whoever is Beans OG to get that nigga out South Philly.
Like, that was all Beans?
Yes. That was all Beans. So I just need this man to stay out of jail for a year, you know, to be able to promote the album, to be able to live life. Like, I was watching Ochino podcast. He's like, yo, this is the longest I've been out of jail. Like, he's like, I don't even know how to act. Like, because when you've been in jail so much, I'm used to being in jail. You know what I mean? So I would have just been Beans' OG to just be like, bruh, get out of South Philly, stop with you getting caught with perks and lean and guns and and then when I heard him on Push's Keep Dealing, I didn't even know it was him because his voice was so raspy. I remember hearing it because it was like, yo, Beans on Push's new album. I was like, oh, this is gonna be crazy. Listen to the whole album. I'm like, I didn't even hear Beans. And I was like, looked at it, I was like, oh shit, that was Beans. So I just think if I could go back in time, try to keep Beans out of trouble, keep him out the streets, and I just think Beans would have had a very dope career. I think if after becoming the solution that came in 07 was what I was saying with Jay, I felt like they was trying to make, Beans into Jay-Z. Like he's in the studio with Dre and Vidal. Like why is Beans in the studio with Dre and Vidal? These is Jill Scott's and music producers. You know what I mean? Like, dog, why ain't you in the studio with Big and all the people who was doing the first album, Chad West and cats like that? So that would be my thing to go back in time and keep Beans out the street and out of prison. Porsche, who's your last person?
My last person, I've got a tiny disclaimer. Obviously, when it comes to death in hip hop, obviously there's like many, many, many artists that I would want to go back in time and save from passing away. But for all intents and purposes of this particular show, I'm going to say Big. I would go back to...
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Because you thought I would say Pac?
I was like, Porsche's playing Pet Cemetery tonight. She's raising Pac from the dead.
No, I'm raising Big from the dead. And the reason is that I would go back to, so my time machine would be like whenever his freaking flight was to LA. Period, point blank. Like, I just don't let him get on that flight. I just do whatever it takes to keep Big.
Right.
I'm punching out Puff. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on. Big is not stepping foot in LA. And the reason for that is I always wanted to know what would have happened, because we know that Big had talked about leaving Bad Boy, doing his own kind of, doing something completely different outside of Bad Boy. He had plans for the Commission. I would have loved to see what he would have done with Junior Mafia, with just everything that he was kind of planning on doing, but couldn't. You know what I mean? So, and Pac had plans too. I mean, Death Row, what was it? Death Row East, I think it was. Yeah. But I'm not too thrilled with the whole Death Row scene. That's why, I mean, I would bring Pac back for 10 million other reasons, but I wouldn't, seeing what he would do with Death Row East isn't like a driving force for me. But for Big, I would definitely want to know how his life would have been, or his artist.
Because their thing was supposed to be the Commission, right? And that was Jay-Z. It was supposed to be Big, Jay-Z, and Charlie Baltimore.
Charlie Baltimore, yeah.
Okay.
Himself, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would have loved to see what he was planning with that, what he was going to do with Junior Mafia, what he was going to do for himself, and not have Puff in the picture. So that was my whole thing. So, Big.
Dope pick. Grae, who's your last person?
Oh man. Okay. I'm in I don't know for sure, but I feel like I'm in a minority with this artist. I'm going to give Lupe Fiasco a clean slate.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me, where are we going back in the time machine, good brother?
We are going back to right after the second album. The Cool. You gotta, so Lupe has so much like positive trajectory for him coming out. When we first really heard him on the Kanye song on Kiss the Sky, and if you listen to Food and Liquor, he had Jay-Z on that album. I mean, and to me that album is a classic to me. And I feel like he had this lane that he was in. He's very lyrical, but I felt like he made good songs. He had this lane that he was in, and he had label issues after the second album, and he was just out of sight, out of mind for years. And it took like some hackers to get his stuff get his stuff put out. And I feel like it had a bad effect on his career. And he still, like, his last album was good, was really good. But I don't know that a lot of people heard it. You know what I'm saying? And then Tiesto and Youth
I didn't even know he had something new out.
Yeah, and Tiesto and Youth was really good, but it's like critically acclaimed. Like a lot of people didn't hear it, but Food and Liquor and The Cool, a lot of people heard those albums. They sold well, and they, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like that label. Yeah, and then Lasers was so bad,
Lasers
man.
messed it up. Yeah.
And it was just
so
like.
What are we changing? Are we changing labels? Are we changing dates or releases?
That label issue never happens.
Okay,
because that label issue really, really derailed him, and he had to force and put out something like Lasers, which you can clearly hear didn't put a lot of time into it, and it was bad, and it affected his career. Nobody wanted to hear him no more. Like, for real, nobody wanted to hear him no more. And I was a huge fan of him, so of course I'm listening, but the average hip hop consumer is not listening no more. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that label issue really affected him. So Lupe, and like his last album, Droga's Wave, is amazing, man. It's really good, but no one heard it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's really good, and I feel like he was on his way to being like, he was really popular at one point, and then it just out of sight, out of mind, and then it was hard to make that up. You know what I'm saying? It was hard to make it up.
I feel you. All right, Porsche, you about to jet?
Yeah, I gotta leave. Sorry, I was gonna wait until Rel finished up, and so yeah, I gotta go.
All right, so please give them, where can they get at you? Everybody. She hates Drake. She loves Troy. She loves Pete Rock. Pete Rock started following her today. So, you know.
Listen, my TL is just filled with the most amazing people in the world. People have been so happy for me, and I absolutely love everybody, because I was like, I literally wrote to Apartment 5B, and I was like, someone reply to this tweet because I think I've died.
So where can they get at you, Porsche?
On Twitter at Cherchez La Porsche. That's all I got.
Right. Again, it's simple. Just don't talk about Drake, and you should be good money with it. So, you know,
thank you guys so much. It was so great to see you all.
Dope seeing you again, babe.
So dope to be back. Can't wait for next week. And Clubhouse, you guys. Next week, on Monday, we've got Rough House, the book by Chris Schwartz. We're going to be talking about all the great things that this book has in it. So if you are a good reader and you can read the book by Monday.
Here's the thing, everybody. I haven't read one page, so I've got 4 days to read the book. So order it from Amazon, get it by Saturday, finish it by Monday. It can happen, y'all.
Exactly.
Pay for Prime.
And it's on Audible and it's on audiobook. So you can get it, and it's like 6 hours on the I think Audible. So just listen to it. Although I've read it, it's great. So I can't wait. Hope to see everybody there. And again, so good to see you guys. Thank you for the conversations. It was great.
No
Bye,
doubt.
guys.
Missed you, sis. Bye.
Bye.
Nick, who you got up for your last one, good brother?
I had to think a lot about this, but I'm trying to get out of the way to icon here. The Last Emperor. So I
brother.
I had him on my radar.
When you brought up about Philly MCs, like I wrote it. I don't even know if people can see it, but I wrote it right there.
Last
you brought that up.
Man.
I wrote down The Last Emperor.
I had him on my radio show years ago, and he was a real good dude. But I caught him after all this stuff had happened. But he had come to Temple University, I think in like 02, 03, right before he actually put his album out and told the whole story about being on Raucous and getting shelved, and them asking him to look more like LL and offering to hire him a personal trainer, and and he just said it didn't work for him, and he got caught up at the end of Raucous where like they went and spent all this money on like Kool G Rap. I forgot what the starting lineup. I forgot what the poster was that they had or what their campaign was, but it was like Kool G Rap, Sabam Sadiq, him, one or two others that I'm missing, and he never came out. He had all this heat off of like Secret Wars, and he could do all this ill stuff with his voice, and he could rap all a bunch of different ways, and like I don't think he had that crossover appeal like what we said earlier, but there still was anticipation of his album. And once he got to Raucous, it was like, he's on Raucous. People are gonna hear his stuff. And they they did a single or two, and he never came out on Raucous. So by the time his album finally came out, which was like 03, which was Music, Magic, Myths, it was just too late. And it was dope. He had to do Poetic, that was like the last, if you go back and listen to the album, that was the last like recorded verse he did. He died like within a month or two later. His body was done with like cancer. And this is a real touching song. And there was some dope stuff on there, but he just, the attention that he had went, and it was because he got shelved. So if I could give him a do-over and maybe get him on a different label situation, and I couldn't even call where like you would put him at that time, but we thought Raucous would have been that next step for him, but it was like too little too late, and him getting shelved, he never recovered from that, even though he put out some dope stuff, but he just could never recover from that. And that was kind of sad, because I think a lot of people in the underground were anticipating Last Emperor at that time, but again, he could never really jump off from there.
Yo, Last M, for people who may not have heard him, he's on Brace for Impact, Beat Miner's first beat album. His joint is called The Hustler's Theme, which he kills. He's on Jazzy Jeff's Magnificent album on his joint called Mystery Man, which he kills. I mean, Jamal to me just kills everything. I've told the story on here a million times. My man Jay-Zo, who was on a couple of weeks ago, brought Jamal through my crib. They both went to Lincoln together, and we would come to play beats, and he ended up looking at my comic book collection at my mom's house. We just ended up, and this was Secret Wars didn't even come out. He was just telling me about Secret Wars. So instead of working on music, we ended up talking comic books all day. You know what I mean? And Secret Wars is incredible. Everybody out there, it's on the internet. Look up The Last Emperor, Legend of Bigfoot. I feel like if that album would have came out, Last Emperor is I don't want to say he's a household name, because he wouldn't be. What I'm just saying is more people would know about who the Last Emperor is. He was on the Lyricists Lounge double CD back in '97 with KRS and Zach De La Roca. Had a song called CIA that he was on. But when I tell you, Jamal's pen is just incredible. He's one of those MCs who he's using words who you gotta go look up. The first time I heard Bums, he said something about a sarcophagus. I was like, okay, well, sarcophagus. He's the thinking man's MC. Like, if I could just try to think of a way to kind of explain him, like, he's not Pharaoh. I don't know who he is. He's like, I can't even give you an example of who he would be like. Just trust me when you can just start with what I ask people is, where would I start? YouTube Last Emperor Secret Wars, where he has MCs fighting comic book characters. He has Storm fighting Lauryn Hill. He has Buster fighting Doc Octopus. He's got Nas fighting Spider-Man. He's doing people's voices, his commentators. Start with Secret Wars. Find Legend of Bigfoot. If you got these two albums, check them out on these two albums. But just a great, incredible MC, like Nick said, an incredible cool guy.
He is. And there's another song, if you really want to check for it. He did a song over Jesus Walks, and I want to say it might have been dissing Eminem at the time, and it was over the use of the N-word, but or it was either on the industry, and it's really dope. So it was like whenever Jesus Walks came out, like, because that was one of the few instrumentals Kanye let go off of like his albums. Go look for that too. There's like a dope song freestyle that he did over at that time that he really like. It was deep. It wasn't like he was just rapping no main topic, right? He was like going off, and it might have been over the use of the N-word or something like that, but that showed like a different side of him, rapping. And Last Emp's always going to be a guy that like, he should have blown up, and he got stuck on a bad label situation.
And then he was on Aftermath. He got signed.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. He's got stuff with like Dre that went all over here.
And then he got stuck on Aftermath. So you go from being stuck on Raucous to being stuck on Aftermath, and so just an incredible MC that I always talk about. So that's an incredible pick, Nick. Very dope pick. Eddie, who you got for your last guy?
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go R&B with this. I'm going with TLC.
Okay.
Because
okay, I'm intrigued.
Now,
what you got? Where we going in the time machine, man?
You know, obviously, Left Eye, right? You know, if Left Eye doesn't die, I feel like there's no reason why they couldn't have continued what they were doing. And I think that after that, it changed everything. You know, I think T-Boz and Chili still, you know, they're still trying to make music, but you know, me and Jazz were talking about this, me and my wife. You know, it's like you know, it's like the producers and songwriters gave up on them. And I think if they still had the whole group intact, you know, with Left Eye. And the funny thing about it is, you know, what's crazy about that to me, thinking about it, is, you know, why the producers and songwriters kind of gave up on them is, you know, Left Eye is the MC. You know, they're an R&B group first. Obviously, Left Eye was a big part of the group, but there's still no reason why they couldn't have made dope songs. But I think it was just that dynamic. So, you know, I think, you know, they could have been one of them legacy acts. I mean, yeah.
So I feel I'm just, and it may have been because I was old, because I'm so fucking old. But I just felt like, for me, TL, like by the time Fan Mail came out, I was kind of like checked out, like, you know what I mean? But again, I'm old at that time, you know, because I'm like the oldest person up here. So again, you know, I'm not like, did y'all like Fan Mail? Like, I just wasn't a Fan Mail fan.
I did,
okay.
Yeah.
So
that's my favorite.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, that's probably like my least favorite. Like, I like the first album, it's Crazy Sexy Cool, and that's like the least favorite. All right, cool. So what you're doing is you're making sure Left Eye doesn't go to wherever she went. Okay, all right. Yeah.
Like at that whole vacation thing, I mean, you know, I think that left. I remember that whole special, that TV special they had on her last days out there, which was kind of hard to watch. Honestly.
It was very eerie.
It was eerie. Yes, I only saw it one time, and that was it.
Yeah, that was an uncomfortable watch.
Yes, it was. Yeah. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, cool. JR, who you got for you? Oh, what you about to say something about TLC?
Yeah, I was just gonna say too. I agree with Eddie about that too, and I think that Dallas Austin wasn't a big part of it. After that, it was like once Dallas kind of checked out, he knew them as a group. And when you got an album when they sitting up there, because I think the last album that they did, which was Fan Mail, that Left Eye was alive, she didn't like it. And she was talking mess about Dallas, and so I think they was gonna eventually leave. But when they did leave, you messing with producers like Raphael Sadiq and Missy and they don't know y'all as artists. So at the end of the day, how is it gonna work? You can get maybe a couple here and whatever, but Dallas knows y'all. And I think once Dallas kind of got out of the picture, and I don't think Left Eye really wanted to deal with it, I don't think TLC would. I think they would have kind of been where they at, to be honest.
All right. Who's your last person,
Yeah.
Actually, the rivalries, TLC. I mean, TLC. SWV.
Okay. So what are we changing?
I will change their second album getting released too late.
Okay. Like,
because
too late meaning what? After the single or after the first album?
After the first album. They came out in 92. The next album didn't come out to 96.
Oh, shit. You're right.
Like, that was bad. It was bad. And, I mean, Coco got pregnant, so that was a problem. But, not a problem. But she got pregnant, but it kind of messed up the momentum that they had. Because they was always neck and neck with TLC. It was just them. Them two was neck and neck. It was always them two. And then once TLC came with Crazy Sexy Cool, they were out of here. And it was like, you know, SWV was still kind of riding off of It's About Time. By then, it's already 3 years old. Like, people is like moved on. It was like, then you putting out the remixes. It's like, nah, we need new music. Like, we want new stuff. So yeah, they come out with Girl the One, but that comes out in the beginning of '96. By then, everybody has kind of moved on. It was like their momentum was done. Then freeing Brian Alexander Morgan didn't get the first single. It just went wrong. Like just.
All right, let me ask a question. Who do you think is better, SWV or TLC?
You really gonna ask me that?
I know you, Eddie. What about you?
I'd go with SWV as far as being better. I think TLC wound up making, like, aside from SWV album was better than anything TLC did, me personally. But I think everything TLC did after kind of trumped whatever SWV did after that.
Okay, Rel, what about you? SWV, TLC?
Vocally, SWV. Overall, career-wise, TLC.
And Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I like what Rel said. I'll dig with that because I never really sat down with the albums. I was more of the singles with both of those groups, and I enjoyed SWV singles, especially more as a DJ. But TLC's, they also had like, I kind of like the waterfalls and all the really like big hits. Yeah. Because
I've always thought the only reason why TLC blew was because off of waterfalls. Like the whole Terminator video, the whole them dancing in the water and all of that shit. Because Creep didn't do shit for Crazy Sexy Cool. Creep did not blow up Crazy Sexy Cool.
Oh, yes it did. Yes it did. That was a huge single. Yes.
Was bigger than Waterfalls.
That was the debut single on
Right, but it wasn't better than Waterfalls.
That was a number one single for them. Yeah.
What happened?
It was a number one single for them.
No, but what I mean, so if you take Waterfalls out of TLC's catalog, you still think they win all those Grammys that year? Because everything was Waterfalls.
The only and if you want to be honest, the reason why they got a lot of that thing pushed behind Crazy Sexy Cool was because of Left Eye burning the house. Because if she didn't do that, they wouldn't have got a lot of that thing.
No, but I'm just talking about when they were at the Grammys, it was Waterfalls. Oh my God, the video for Waterfalls is amazing. Waterfalls. Every Vibe magazine, Waterfalls. I ain't hear nobody say nan about Creep, and I love Creep.
Even if we look
at what they performed, when they were on the Grammys and when they were on those stages, they weren't doing Creep. They were doing Waterfalls, and you're going to perform whatever is the biggest song.
Yeah, but do you want to get into do you really want to get deep into the optics of that? Like Waterfalls crossed over so much. Like who are they pandering to at that point?
Right.
But that's what I mean. But like you just said, it crossed over. Creep was big for us.
Yeah.
It's almost like how with Mary. Yeah. Mary was cool for our generation. When that Not Gonna Cry came out, that's when my boss at the time, who's 58, was like, oh man, Mary J. Blige. That's when grown women, when she came out with that Not Gonna Cry, that was Mary. That's what took Mary from us loving her, the hip hop people, to grown women being like, that's my soundtrack. That's my girl right there.
But
you don't agree?
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying Creed was just as big. That's
no. But that album was stacked. I don't think it was big in a crossover market. Like Nick just said, to cross over to the world.
But Creed did cross over to the world.
Not the way that Waterfalls did.
No, not that. I mean, when you think of TLC, you're gonna think of Waterfalls. I get that.
That's all I'm saying.
Signature song.
If you take Waterfalls out of their catalog, I don't know, because like you were saying, the time between SWV and TLC took off. But I feel like if you take Waterfalls off that album, they're still neck to neck. Because
I don't agree with that. I don't because
that album was stacked though. God.
Yeah, the album was stacked. You had Creep, you had Digging on You, you had Red Light Special.
Right. But I'm saying that was fine. See, TLC. Go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
All those songs never got off of really R&B radio per se. Like New York City, what got on Z100, which is like the pop station?
Waterfalls,
right? Yeah. So all those others were big, and they were big R&B songs, but they wound up on quote unquote urban radio, right? Like that was the
where SWV was. So that's all I'm saying is that's what I mean by they were neck and neck. They're both of their songs getting played on Power 99, Hot 97, all the black stations. But when Waterfalls came out, it was the crossover. It was the 5 heartbeats. Why we got to keep crossing over? It blew them up. So that's all I'm saying is that I think SWV and TLC, that's what took them off to the races. And most groups have that one song that did it for them.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying I feel like with Crazy Sexy Cool came out in 94, so they had that. SWV didn't come out to 2 years later, so TLC would have still.
I see what you're saying like that, but I think that it's funny because I would think, and again, it's just what I think, that SWV would have more like real people who care about music fans. Like, you know what I mean? Like how I'm always like, you could be an artist that's so big that people say, hey, I'm a fan and I've never even listened to an album. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Phil, real quick though. Bigger. So what they did do, they followed it up in the next album. Because what song would you say is better, Waterfall or No Scrubs?
Probably No Scrubs. Well, here's the thing. I would say Waterfalls is. See, when I'm thinking bigger, and I think that's why me and Nikolai speak the same language because we're thinking radio-wise. So when I'm thinking bigger, I'm thinking Waterfalls was bigger, but the perfect follow-up was No Scrubs. Because see, once you cross over, now you have everybody's ear. So Digging on You was a big song. It was on the radio. It was, it was on video stations. But to me, that's because now people have said, hey, who's TLC? Oh, that's TLC. Now let me listen. I think if you do Creep and Digging on You, I don't think we have those record sales that we had. The same way I think if you take Killing Me Softly off of the score, I don't think it sells 10 million records. Incredible album, all that stuff, but it was that Killing Me Softly that blew the Fugees up. My man was a DJ at the record store in Baltimore. He was like, people would just come in like, I just want to buy the single for Killing Me Softly. Oh, we don't have a single. Oh, well, just give me the whole album. Like, wanted that song. Yeah. So again, anything after that, now Lauryn Hill is gold. Once you cross over, you're gold for the most part. You know what I mean? So after that, Lauryn Hill could drop whatever Lauryn Hill decided to drop, and it was gonna be. We just talked about Nas. If I Ruled the World blew up because of Lauryn Hill. If you have A. Marie sing If I Ruled the World, trust me, it ain't the same If I Ruled the World. Without Lauryn Hill.
And he had her on a song too.
And he had A. Marie on the song, but that's what I mean by it's the same thing I said with the Roots. If you had Jill Scott, who nobody knew, sing that weird chorus that I remember when You Got Me came out, we was all like, what is she saying? Like, what is the hook? Like, we don't even know what she's saying. So, but you have Jill, who's a nobody, sing that hook, and the album's not going nowhere. They won a Grammy off of You Got Me. They didn't win a Grammy because of motherfucking The Love of My Life or, all them other songs on 100% Dundee. Things Fall Apart is amazing now, but don't let nobody tell you they won a Grammy because of the amazing musicianship on Things Fall Apart. No, they won that shit.
You know what's so crazy? And you know what's so crazy? What? TLC didn't win a Grammy for Waterfalls. They won it for Creep.
Oh. Here's the thing, JR. I have no problem saying when I'm wrong.
No, Kill, you're right. Like, I agree with you because it's like when you think of TLC, their signature record is Waterfalls. That's the first song
And again, I'm always thinking of it, not what we think, but what does the bigger audience
think?
Masses.
And when you think about TLC,
the first song is you ask me my favorite TLC song off that album, I'm telling you Red Light Special with my eyes closed.
Right.
But I Red Light Special to the average TLC fan, they gonna be like, what song is that? Because it wasn't a big hit. Like, it was big on BET, but was it big on MTV? You know what I mean? So again, when I'm in college again, I'm only watching BET. Maybe you being younger, maybe you was watching everything. Like, we wasn't watching MTV in college. So
I wasn't watching MTV.
I don't know, but. No,
that's why I just said SWV got
would move their second album forward.
I would try to bring it out the same time TLC came out with theirs. Then we can really see if it was neck and neck. You know what I mean? Because they were neck and neck after their first album. That they both of their first albums sold. They was equal. When it came to that second album, TLC, once it came out with Waterfalls, it was done. And then they come out in 96.
And the other thing is that there was no, like, they came out in 96, they had a whole different sound.
Yeah.
And there was no transition. Like, it sounded like two separate groups, almost.
I agree.
Like, you didn't build up to, you know.
Now, I don't know about this, but I don't know. I don't know, Nick. Was that the Be Here, not Be Here, whatever the shit with Human Nature with Michael Jackson with S.
Oh yeah. Right here.
That would be crossover, right? That blew them up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was on the first album, though.
But
right.
This
all their big singles.
New Beginning is what You're the One, Use Your Heart.
That's the one that Pharrell did, the Use Your Heart.
That's Neptunes, right? So that's that vibe. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
and the third album was like 98, right? With you.
No, it was like a freaking year
like
later.
A year later. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And that was the one with Someone, and
that's with Someone and Rain and
Can We?
Lose It, Cool.
Right,
And, I hate that album.
What?
I hate it. I hate it.
I thought it was a cool album.
No, well, I mean, as a hip hop head, you would. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense if you would. SWV might have had the swag of hip hop, but
with Foxy Brown was my joint. Release Some Tension, that beat.
But but see, that was an album that was basically SWV featuring rappers.
But yes. But here's the wild part. And we need to do a show, and I need to write down all these shows we need to do. Just the way that the industry directs you on what to make, which goes back to why you have the artists like 3000 and most who can't deal with this being put in a box and being told what to make, because I'm sure somebody told them, all right, y'all, you know, this shiny suit, we need to get with Puff. Puff needs the remix. No. We got to get a Puffy single, because at that time, and again, being a little, not being a kid, but being young, being 22, it's like, nah, stay true to the culture, stay true to the culture. Not when the culture ain't paying my bills and I just got a son and I'm about to get evicted. And so, you know, now that I'm older, I'm looking at it through a different lens of, well, yeah, I guess if you got a son and you about to lose your car because the last album ain't sell good and you trying to split a check 3 ways, and yeah, we need Puffy. Fuck it, we need Redman. Like, so it's almost like it's almost like we need an alternative universe, like in Marvel or DC, where you could say the albums they made versus the albums they wanted to make. Like
they because with New Beginning, it was like, yo, after their A&R left, everybody from the label left, so they didn't know. You got new people coming in that don't even know who SWV is. So they like, boom, let's take them to Puff, because like you said, that's the new sound. And when they took them over there, they threw them with all these rappers, and it was just like
the hard part about it is that when you work for the machine, it's the hard problem is
that's exactly what it is.
It's the thing is, you can be indie, you can be with the machine. Both have positives, both have negatives.
Yeah.
I tell Porsche all the time, if OVO Radio picks us up, guess what, sis? You can't diss Drake no more, because we on his station. See, now you're part of the machine.
True.
You know, Rel, we can't do a blackballing episode because the person Rel picks the blackball may be the guest next week. Can't. It's cool because we can talk shit all day, but we broke. So you know what I mean. So you know,
I get it.
I can't even blame the A&Rs, because guess what? The A&R job is on the line. The A&R job is like, yo, you better get SWV to go platinum, or nigga, you ain't got no job. So
that and the A&R for that project was
guess what happens then? All the music in you goes right out the door.
Yeah.
And then you go into, okay, y'all, come on, let's have a powwow. Who we gotta get? Okay, we gotta get Puff. We gotta get such. We gotta get Pharrell. We got, you know, and that's what happens, because now your job is on.
But what's a common theme, I think, tonight is we've said a lot of artists, they split from whatever formula kind of got them to, you know, where they were in the first place. I've heard this multiple times tonight, where we're like, they did this, and then they went on the next record and they split up with too many producers. Like Tevin Campbell, you just talked about, the example you gave here, Nas, The Firm, like whatever we've been talking about tonight.
That's real.
Yo, it's almost always the second album they go and they blow up shop because of what you just said for the last few minutes.
Yeah.
The hard part is because once you once you're in the music business, the goal is to sell records. It's not about making good music.
Yeah,
like, that's the difference. Like I could come at you with the most important song for the world today with everything that we're going through, but if the hook ain't catching enough and the beat ain't dope enough, or even if the beat is dope enough but it's produced by Kill and not produced by Kanye West, then it's not gonna fit. You know what I mean? So that's the problem. So like you said, Nick, we have all these people who are now, you're put in this position of, okay, well, what do? Do I make dope music that I want to make and maybe get dropped? And then when I get dropped, you know, and again, as a youngin' at 22, I'm like, fuck it, get dropped. This person don't got no high school education. This person don't know nothing else to do but rap. So get dropped to just do what? Go sell drugs? Go rob people? You're not gonna get a job at Subway, so people could be with Consequence say, hey, you look just like that cat I saw in the Busta Rhymes video the other night. You ain't gonna be that dude. So okay, cool. Well, let me try to do some crossover stuff. But then when that don't work, so it's almost like you're in this catch-22. You know, you're in this catch-22, and to me, one of the few people who were able to like get out the game unscathed, and people don't give them enough credit, Souls of Mischief. They got in this game. They had a 2-album deal. They built up their fan base. People fucked with them. Souls were one of the people who were the first people to really go indie.
Hyro had that blueprint. They used that whole situation of them, Casual, Dell being on the majors to get enough, get out, own all their stuff, and then do the logo branding and run.
And people don't give them enough credit for it, but that's really the thing. Get a 2-album deal. Get the fuck in, get your fans, get people behind you, and get the fuck out, and then do it indie. And that's exactly what they did. You know what I mean? But most people don't get that. Most people, you sign in 6-album deals, you know, or you know they're not going to release you, or you know they're not going to drop you, or whatever like that to make you independent and to still be able to have that grind. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. One of my peoples from New York hit me the other day, like, yo, Kill, can you design our group's album cover? And I'm like, you in a group and nobody owns Photoshop? Like, you in the wrong group. Like, if you in a group nowadays, everybody needs a job. If the politics right now are a rap group and we want to be successful independently, then I'm the Twitter social media person. Rel is the engineer. Nick is the radio. Eddie is the promotion. JR is... We not only rapping and singing, you better have a job at this label too. And that's where indie artists go wrong, because they don't know. All they do is know how to rap. They don't know how to promote. Like there's somebody sent me their music today in a total inappropriate way. And it wasn't inappropriate like bad, but if me and Eddie are having a conversation about A and some random jumps in like, yo, but have you heard this? I'm looking like nobody was talking. Like, who are you? Like, this is how you're telling me to listen to your music by jumping into a conversation I'm having with somebody else about something that don't got nothing to do with your music. But maybe for him, that was his end. Like, oh, they talking hip hop. Let me see if they heard. Yeah. Like, so that's the problem. Y'all don't even know how to promote music. So everybody out there watching, if you in a group, everybody in your group need to do something outside of what they do for the group. Meaning your DJ need to DJ and promote, and your hype man need to be the hype man and can design album covers, and your other dancer can do. Nobody has dancers anymore. I'm going back to '88. And your dancer need to know how to do social media. And your other dancer need to. If you want to be indie, this is the part of it. If you want to be indie, you are going to have to do 50 jobs. You're going to have to be the rapper. You're going to have to be the marketer. You're going to have to be the promoter. You're going to have to be the person who calls all the radio stations. You're going to have to be all those things. You know, and that's hard to do, but that's the joy of it. But then you're indie, and it's all yours. You know, so you have that pick. The last person I got is Big Daddy Kane. I would like to go back in time to 1990.
I knew that.
Kane is Long Live the Kane is 88. It's a Big Daddy thing is 89. 2 back-to-back 5 mic classics to me. But then that third one, Taste of Chocolate, came in 1990, and it just started to go downhill. I mean, I was looking at the album cover, and I'm looking at it, I said, All of Me featuring Barry White. Why the fuck is Barry White on a Big Daddy? I remember I'm in 10th grade, so no, I'm in 10th. Yeah, I'm in 10th. And 11th. I'm in 11th, so I'm 16, 17. I'm like, why the fuck is Barry White on a Big Daddy Kane album? Like, what feature is this? Like, and, you know, then you hear it, and then next came Prince of Darkness in 91 with The Lover in You. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? And then, you know, even Looks Like a Job for 93 with Very Special with Spinderella. I'm like, are y'all really doing Very Special? Like, what is going on here? So I would go back in time. In 90, is when it really started to go downhill, because that's when he got on Back in the Black with Quincy, Back on the Block with Quincy. And I think the thing with Kane is he always wanted to be bigger than hip hop. You know, I don't think he was happy with just being raw, because he would talk about he'd be driving around his Volvo listening to the OJs. Like, while other rappers was driving around listening to hip hop, he like, I'm listening to the OJs and Barry White. So I think in his mind, he was like, yo, I want to work with some of the people I listen to. Like, he did a song with Patti LaBelle.
Patti LaBelle. Yep.
Why are you doing a song with Patti, Kane? Like, the man who gave you Ain't No Half Stepping is now on a Patti LaBelle song? No. You didn't see G-Rap do a song with no motherfucking Stephanie Mills. You know what I mean? Like, you just didn't see that. You didn't. And even when Rakim did it with Jody Wiley, it was still hip hop. Like, Friends is a classic to me, you know. He did Madonna's Sex Book. He's posing on the cover with Madonna and Naomi Campbell naked. He's doing Shots and Playgirl. I'll never forget the first time I saw the video for Heavy D's Don't Curse. And me and all my boys was like, what the fuck is Kane wearing? Does he have on a purple paisley shirt? Like, what is going on? You know? So I would go back in time and I would just like, what's the word? Beseech, behoove, whatever the word is. I'll be like, Kane, don't do it. Like, yo, I know you want to get with Patty, and I know you want to. No, brother, we need to keep you firmly into this hip hop.
He'll swooping in like the ghost of Christmas Future.
Yeah, like I'm coming like Kane. Please, like, brother, don't do this, man. Don't do this, because Kane, you can, even with Enough Respect off the Juice soundtrack, you can see he still had it, you know, but it was just going. So yeah, I would swoop in, and because I know people who have Kane in their top 5. He's my number 6. But I just think out of having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Having 7, 8 albums and only 2 of them being classics, like, it's just like he should have had 3, 4 at least. You know, at least with Rakim. I'm not a big fan of Don't Sweat the Technique. It's not a classic, you know, but at least with Ra, we got 3 solid, if not classic, very extremely dope albums up to Let the Rhythm Hit. You know what I'm saying? But I think the hard part too, and we still got to find a way to map this show together, is just the changing of hip hop. You know, because by the time Don't Sweat the Technique was out, it was all about jazz. So that's why you got the jazz bass line with Don't Sweat the Technique, and, you know, all of that stuff. So that's the person I would bring back. Anybody got any extras real quick that y'all wanted to do anything for? Who you got, Ro? You on mute?
Still on mute.
I'm back. All right.
You're back.
I got a couple I can run off real quick. Bilal.
Oh yeah.
But what are you doing? What are we doing? We're going back in time and doing what?
I need JR's help, because I don't know. But I feel like
I can tell you this: the first thing we doing is we releasing Love for Sale.
Agreed.
That's a class.
Agreed.
We're releasing.
Agreed. There it is.
Something to hold on to.
Something to hold on to. I love that album.
Oh,
it's sad that so many people haven't heard it. So that's the first thing. We gotta go back in time and release that album.
Yeah. So Bilal, Jamal from Illegal. Then I had one more. Oh man, it was R&B too. Oh, Shanice, and that's it.
I was gonna say her too.
What are we doing for Shanice?
I don't know. Again, I need JR's help, because
I would take her. Honestly, I would. She would have to get better producers to me.
Okay.
Because I Love Your Smile is cool. You know what I'm saying? But I like what she did on, what was the Robert Townsend movie?
Yes. What's the name of that song?
Yeah,
it's for you. Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
That's my favorite song. She needed
stuff like that. They was trying to give her pop stuff that just didn't work. So when she got with Babyface and them in '99, and she did When I Close My Eyes and all that, that was dope. But it was just like Shanice just needed better producers, because them first 2 albums was idiots.
Yeah.
All right.
Yo, my friend suggested Kwame.
I'm not mad at Kwame.
I'm mad at
because here's the thing that people don't talk about.
He was saying that, like, when, you know, Big assassinated his character, what have you, like, could you have stopped that because he made that change, you know, after the second album, right?
And fucking polka dots.
Yeah, Big did kill that, and it's funny how one person's line can kill your career, not even trying to kill you. Because Kwame's first album was incredibly dope. I love A Day in the Life. I love that album. Like, to me, that's a 5 mic album in my opinion. One of the first concepts albums from the not voice messages, what did we have before, the answer machines, and just the whole day in his life and everything like that. Only You was huge. I just think the thing with Crime is, I don't know, I think not that he got played out, but that Kid and Play PG-13 got played out. Yes.
The whole thing.
The whole Kid and Play, Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody. All that fun hip hop got played out when we ushered in the 40 and Heineken and Blood part of hip hop. And I mean, that's really what it was. That it was like, yo, don't nobody got no time for no people in polka dots and too hype shirts on, kicking at each other no more. Like, yo, we getting shot out. Yo, I got my M16, I got my Uzi. Like, you coming out here with polka dots on, you know what I mean? So I think the hard part with Crime, that whole PG-13 Herbie Lovebug crew was just that style of hip hop got played out. Like, that have fun part of hip hop got played out, you know. And I mean, I got tired of Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince coming up with stupid people to fight, you know, Nightmare on My Street, and I think I could beat Mike Tyson. And Summertime is what really saved them and kind of gave them a second breath of life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And as far as still being able to create music, but I just think those fun days got played out, and nobody wanted to dance anymore. You know, if you was dancing, you was corny. I mean, could you imagine Nas and Ain't No Half? I mean, and It Ain't Hard to Tell dancing,
right? Like doing the running man. Yeah,
doing the running. Like, no, like
you see that Wild Dole out like in like a two, like, because like 92, 3. Well, it depends. Yeah, like 2 years changed the whole landscape. Like 91, 92, right into like 93, 94.
I can kind of see people doing the running man on halftime.
Comes out 2 years earlier. Jungle is on stage with another mofo from Queensbridge dancing. The same way G-Rap had the Chosen Few dances. You look at the Road to Riches video, you got the TCF crew dancing in the background. So if he comes out, so that's why when people don't understand that, people be like, yo, Kill, I'm only 2 years younger than you. A lot changes in 2 years in this game. A lot. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think De La was one of the few people who were able to grow out of the kind of weirdo-ness of, you know, the way they dressed in the Daisy Age. Because by the time you get to Balloon Mind State, they don't look like they did in the Daisy Age. You know what I mean? I don't know if Tribe is still successful if they still dress bohemian-like on People's Instinctives. You know, I think if you watch a Yo MTV rap clip of Tribe Called Quest of People's Instinctives, that's why I didn't really like them at first. I was like, yo, what the fuck these things got on? Like, what are they wearing? Like, shit whack. Then I saw Check the Rhyme, and I'm like, oh, okay, he got on a jersey, he got on New Balance. Okay, New Balance, now he's back around the way. You know what I mean? So I think that's it. The only people I had on the R&B tip, I know I'm gonna catch out for this, but I don't give a fuck. I liked it. Chrisette Michelle. I would go back and be like, don't you never say nothing about performing for Trump.
I absolutely agree. I agree.
Just please keep your mouth shut. I think Chrisette is an incredible talent. Amazing. She said she was singing for Trump's inauguration. Black folk, and you know, black folk, we iffy on when we cancel you, because we'll cancel you and then bring you back. We was dead ass on Chrisette. Like, Chrisette was canceled and she ain't coming back. So I would convince
Kanye can though. That ain't fair.
Hey, hell, Candyman could come back too. People still got our timeline talking about Candyman. So
you right.
It's how big your hits are. Chrisette didn't have big enough hits.
That's true.
Okay, because if Rashawn Patterson did a Candyman, he ain't coming back. But Rashawn Patterson ain't right bump and grind and 12 play and everything else. So,
right.
Black folk, we look at your discography first. Like, yeah, we kind of will bring up his discography on Wikipedia first. Like, okay, we could cut him. He ain't have to. Oh man, I done lost my virginity to that fool. No, we ain't cutting Candyman. We must have lost our mind. I'd go back and I'd get D'Angelo off them drugs. You know what I mean? For a lot of people don't know, D was hooked on some drugs for a while. Had to go to the Eric Clapton rehab center to kind of get cleaned up. So I definitely would have got him off of that. And now 2 accidents I would have prevented. D.O.C. was on my list, Railbot. You know, since you and Nick gave him love, I didn't bring him up. Teddy Pendergrass.
I was going to say that. And Curtis Mayfield.
The accident was say that too on him and paralyzed him. So on the R&B front, if I could go back and take back 2 accidents, it would have been those 2 right there because those were just like career enders. Eddie, you had something?
I got one last one. I'm gonna say Slick Rick.
Right.
If Slick Rick never goes to jail, you know, he had, you know, because he had Great Adventures, obviously classic, Ruler's Back, and then, you know, the Behind Bars was kind of when he started going, and then nothing until 99. So I feel like if he never went to jail, like maybe that 94 album would have been better. And then, you know, if he dropped something around 96, that would have been a nice sweet spot. Like, I think it would have been really dope. You know, there's no reason why he couldn't have kept up the momentum, but that's just kind of messed him up. I mean, it's dope that he had the Bounce Back album in 99, but by that point, you know, it was kind of late.
Hip-hop had moved on. And I mean, I was always, I'm in the minority. I like the second Slick Rick album. I just personally didn't think it helped because at that time, your bread and butter were videos and shows. So even if everybody said, yeah, Kill, we agree with you, we love the second album, the hard part is he wasn't in videos.
No promos, no.
He wasn't on Yo MTV Raps. He couldn't be on BT Rap City. So I think, like if Rick doesn't go to jail, I do think he would have continued to make incredible music. All right, JR, give him all his stuff, bro. Where can they get at you?
Oh shoot, we ain't doing the block thing. Okay,
I don't want to do the. Well, you know what? Fuck it. Go ahead. Who y'all got? For people watching, the first thing I thought about was who would you blackball? I was watching a Talib interview with Quest. Quest was talking about how he felt MCs blackballed after Nas dissed Jay on the whole Eminem murdered you on your own shit. So Quest's belief is that MCs were like, oh shit, I can't have Black Thought on my album because he's gonna murder me on my own shit, and then it's not gonna look good for me. So the first thought of this show was, who's an artist that you would blackball? But the old man in me was like, oh, that's kind of fucking mean. So let's just flip it and kind of do, you know, who would you give a set? Fuck it, but I'm no grumpy old man. Get off my lawn. Go ahead, JR. Who would you blackball if you?
I got 2. You know already one.
Candyman.
Well, no, not but no, not him.
Who?
Super Bowl.
Oh, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, him. And honestly, that was just to be shady. I'm doing him, but I would honestly
do that over Janet because I still, and I said this the other day. I just listened to Justin's last album. I'll be the only person who liked that. Me and his wife, we be the only people who like that last.
Good, and y'all stay there because that album is trash, and you know it. But anyway, that album is trash, you know. But no, the other one I was gonna say, and I know this people gonna bug out, Jennifer Hudson.
I'm not mad at that. I wish she stopped singing too.
I don't want no more albums. I don't want none of that. She hasn't found that sound. She never will. It ain't working. Just act and just do whatever you do.
Don't act because I seen her ass in Cats. Don't act. Just go read.
Oh, okay. Well, then just go do something with yourself because I'm over it.
Speaking of Jennifer Hudson, what is this new Aretha Franklin thing that's out? Because I thought she was starring in one, but then
because they keep so long to do it. But I'm sorry, I watched the one with Cynthia Erivo. I think it's good. It was dope to me. I think it was dope. And it's like it's an 8-part series. So I think it was dope. It really was because it told, if you know Aretha, you know that she had a hard life. Don't go into it thinking, oh my God, the music is great. She's the queen and this. You're getting her life. Her dad wasn't shit. Sorry. Her mom left her when she was 10 and her mother died of a heart attack. Like, she had a lot that she dealt with. She had her first child at 12. Like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, it's
this is all in the show?
It's in it. It's all in that. And Jennifer and them were just taking too long. They trying to think people going back to the movies. Do what they did and put that shit on Amazon Prime and keep it moving. Like, why are y'all waiting till movie theaters open? That's why to be honest with you, I don't even want to see it with Jennifer because I don't got time for the funeral yelling. For real. I really don't. Like, I really don't. And I'm over Jennifer, to be honest. I'm just saying.
It's funny because T always talk about Neffy. She be like, she's always Neffy. She there's no other lane for her but just singing.
There's
like
nothing.
Neffy.
Just yelling. It's like, girl, no.
Yeah.
They get up for every funeral. You see she did for Kobe and did for this. And I'm like, girl,
but you know,
sit down.
But here's the thing, bro. Like you were saying about Tevin, that's her lane. Her lane is I'm a yeller. You know what I mean? And
and don't make good albums, period.
I agree. Eddie, you have anybody you want to blackball? Or are you in a good mood today?
I think I mentioned this on another show, but I'll blackball Common because I feel like Common is just destroying his legacy. The more music he's, it's like if I could just have up until like Water for Chocolate, like just that and nothing else. I know, he had B. I know he had B, but then he also had Universal Mind Control before B, I think.
He had Electric Circus before.
Electric Circus.
That's right.
Gosh. Oh,
that was his artistic album. Yeah.
No, that was his I'm Pussy Whipped album. That was Erykah done whipped it. I apologize because they wasn't having sex. That's the problem. That's why Andre got messing with Erykah Badu and Common got whacked. That's the difference.
Hey, yo, can I say something about Common though? Gosh. That last album, right? I remember I saw Kill post about it. I didn't think it was that bad, but I think, what I liked about the album? The girl he had singing. The last one he put out that nobody.
You talking about Let Love?
No, the one
the one with the kids running on the cover, right?
Yes. So I like the girl PJ that's singing on the album. She kills it and the production is good, but he's on some other. I remember you said the first line you heard, you was like, I can't listen to this shit. And he was drawing on that, man. But the production, like Robert Glasper and a lot of them, the production is good. The girl singing is good, but Common is ass on there. Like, and it's like,
you know what you just said, bro? You just said it wasn't that bad.
And then
no. Listen. I can listen to it.
But again, we know what "does that bad" means.
No, what I'm saying is the good of the album isn't Common. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay.
I could listen to the album for her, but not Common. Yeah, and it's his album, but she's better than him on the album. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
But
right.
he's ass on the album. Like, and it's like, damn, for somebody that I really like, who put out One Day It All Makes Sense. Like, this is unacceptable. Yeah. Just stop. Stop.
Ev texted me his pick is Common. My pick is Common. Just for the simple fact that I could take him after Finding Forever. Because Finding Forever was 2007. That's the album that came after B. Because right around 2008 is when he got into acting heavily. Because the first big role he got was Wanted with Angelina Jolie when they was like assassins. And that was 2008. And I just think once that,
and then he dropped Universal Mind Control,
right, and Universal Mind Control. So to me, I would. But here's the hard part: acting pays your bills, rap doesn't. You know what I mean? So I get why you went into acting. My only challenge is doing Will Smith. And even when Will made one of his last albums, he said, I'm taking a year off from acting, which is losing $20 to $40 million because he gets $20 million a movie. And then a year, he may have been able to do 2 movies. Even though the album was whack, I just commend you for taking the time away. You can't do both. You know what I'm saying? You can't. G-Unit has shown us 50 with no sneaker deal may get rich or die trying. Sneaker with vitamin water and sneakers and T-shirts and then we get the mask. So you just can't do it all at one time, And I think that the one that really got me was the Nobody Smile, because when it was like, yo, I'm gonna do an album about Chicago and about the gang wars and about all this, and then I heard it and I'm like, yo, bro, this ain't the album. Like, if you want to do that album, you and No ID needs to stop being the president of Def Jam for 6 months. You need to stop acting for 6 months. Y'all need to get a condo in Chicago. Y'all need to be at these meetings. You need to be at these funerals. You need to be at these schools, and you need to just be feeding off of Chicago and then making an album about Chicago. I can't make an album about Philly living in Waldorf, Maryland. I can't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna make an album about what's going on in Philly, I'm gonna have to go live in Philly, not visit for a weekend.
No, you gotta
go live there.
Yeah.
And I just feel like for him, I think it's just like so I just think his pen is getting worse because I don't think he's working on it. It's like a ball player who doesn't work on his craft. Like, because I feel like it's like, yo, I'm gonna do this album, but then I'm gonna have to promote it. I'm gonna have to do all this, and I could just do one movie and make triple what I can make off this album if I just do this one movie and I shoot for 2 months. So I'm with you. I would my blackball is common. And here's a funny one: The Roots. I don't need another Roots album. I don't need it.
I agree.
I don't need another Roots
I agree.
album. I'll take another Black Thought album, but I don't even know who the Roots are anymore. Like outside, I don't even know who the drum. Outside the drummer, I don't know who the keyboard. Kilo done left. Kamal done left.
Kamal
done left. I don't. Kamal ain't on the Tonight Show no more. Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all got Stro Elliott is in the Roots now, and now you got Tuba Gooden. I don't need no goddamn Tuba.
Yeah, Len Hubbard left,
Tuba,
right?
So, huh?
Leonard Hubbard left like around the start of the Tonight Show. Yeah,
he been left. He's suing them. He's suing them right now. Yeah. Well, he was suing them a while ago. So I don't need another Roots album. I'm good with them. Nick, anybody you want to just stop?
I thought about a joking one, but seriously, Jhené Aiko. Like I don't need to hear another song.
I agree.
She can't sing. She can't sing at all. And it's bad, and I don't know. Because I'm around high school kids, I hear it, and I don't need to hear her sing, and I never thought she was good from the jump because you could hear all like the modulation in the vocals.
Whisper singing.
Right. Yeah. Right, and Ralph, was yours common too, or you got somebody else? You gonna just?
Mine wasn't common, but I really didn't have no working with kids like I do teenagers. I would the people I was saying, like, we don't even listen to them, but their effect on the kids that I deal with is why I want them to stop. But other than that, I don't really have nobody that I could think of that I would blackball like that. The Common one was good just because I don't want him to keep damaging his legacy like he's doing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
Common used to be a top 10 MC to me. Like, and yes. I thought he was like etched in stone, but his discography has helped him realize it wasn't etched in stone. So
that last album should have been an R&B album with the girl singing over those beats and him not on that at all. Yeah. And that's a bad thing to say, but it's the truth.
That's what I was telling you earlier, Kill, like in the chat. Like, I saw that Common book. It was on sale for $3, and I didn't even pick it up because his image had been damaged so much that I can't read that book without hearing his corny ass voice.
Yeah, I read the book. I read the book when it dropped. I mean, it wasn't nothing super incredible. And the crazy part is, I think he's had out 2 more books since then. So, I don't. It's like what Nas said. You must have naked pictures of God or something. I don't know how Common keeps winning. It was between him and John Legend, because somebody asked me, who would you want to get rid of, Common or John Legend? It was like, God damn, I hate both of them so much. And John Legend will pop up where you don't even expect him to pop up at. Like, I'll be watching a cartoon and John Legend will be singing the goddamn song. And I'm like, oh, God, like, get everywhere. Like, I can't get away from you. But neither here nor there. JR, give him all the stuff, good brother.
Shit. The R&B representative on Twitter, rnbreps.com is our website. R&B Reps on Twitter, JR's World of Soul. I hope we get it. We just put in for an interview with BB Winans on Monday. I hope we get it. That would be dope. But check us out. All that. Catch that. It's coming out this Sunday at 2:00. Our new episode, we talk about Shaka Khan and all that good stuff. So check us there.
All right, tell BB to get at me on that beard game, man. I could get his joint sharp, man. I'm dead ass. Like, BB needs a sharper shave up, so tell him to get with me.
I will.
I tell him to get with me. Eddie, give him everything, good brother.
All right, on Twitter at EddieD80, freestyles.com. I'm getting back into it. I got a couple more things out. There's some there's some albums that I'm getting ready to promote. That's getting ready to drop real soon, so you'll be hearing about them as well. And my Instagram also is freestyles.
All right, well, Nick, give him everything, fam.
Yeah, I'm at Examine Baseball wherever you're at, and you want to check some writing, and I always try to mix the hip hop in with the writing. So good looking out, and thanks for having me again. It's fun, always fun to be here. Always
good, brother. Rel, give him everything, good brother.
Uptown J Ben on the gram, and JBen215 on Twitter. As always, happy to be here, man. Appreciate you.
Oh, God, just sitting here so much stuff I'm trying to pump for people. So number one, we'll start with my brother Briz's book, Ear Hustling. All the producers out there.
Yes, sir.
If you need to know more about the whole game of engineering and mixing songs, because as again, indie people, producers, we're having to engineer and mix and do everything ourselves. Quick, easy read, dope book. Check it out, earhustlingmusic.com. Oh, I'm sorry, earhustlingmedia.com. You can pick this joint up. Bro, Trey Lee's book, Glory to Manuscript, definitely a dope book. Gives you all the lyrics, give you Trey's mindset to where he was at. Dope pictures, just very dope book. And I also got to shout out my guy. I don't want to wait until I'm horrible, but he sent me these joints right here. I have to dive into them. The Boom Bap review. He sent these to me. So I'm gonna get into these. I just gotta finish this book for the book club. So don't forget, Rough House this week, Monday, 9:30 Eastern time on Clubhouse, Apartment 5B. Like I said, hell, I haven't even read the book. So as long as you can get it by Sunday. JR, you said you read in like 6 hours. So, if you can get this by Monday, you could definitely get in with us by 9:30, or fuck it, just come hang out and hear about the book.
Right.
So we can chop it up about that. Kill889 on Twitter, IG, We'll Make Beats for Food. I will check y'all next week, y'all.
Peace.